Okay. Hello, David. Good to hear from you.
Good afternoon. It's nice to hear from you again. Yes,
Yes, sir.
I saw some of the work you did recently and
Hmm.
other things, and today, I did two videos with Raphael to show
Hmm.
that the Quran did not come from Arabia at
Hmm.
all, or
Hmm.
that region, like what they call Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Palestine, Jordan. That region, the Quran did not come from there. And many people don't want to hear it. They say maybe it's an Islamic propaganda. Um, Sorry, I'm not here to satisfy people's wishes or beliefs, but I'm just going through what historical documentation or what the evidence shows. And
Hmm.
for example, like Professor Fomenko, he wrote his books with a man known as Gleb Nosovsky. Yes,
Hmm.
have you heard of him?
Yes, sir. I
Yes,
have.
I've sent you a page, and Gleb Nosovsky was involved with a lot of research that Fomenko did, and some of the books they wrote the books together, some of the things,
Hmm.
and Gleb Nosovsky and Professor Fomenko and me, we found a similar problem with with the Quran today that many other people are finding. And what they pointed out that modern Islam was slightly different from the original Islam a few centuries ago. And there was a problem with the modern Arabic language and the way that they're doing translations. Like, let me show you what Nosovsky says. Here, let me
Kazan around the year.
yeah,
Honestly,
wait.
its meaning is greatly obscured by the way it's currently translated and interpreted. Although Muhammad constantly emphasizes that I wrote a very clear and understandable book. And it's indeed clear and understandable if you read it carefully. Unfortunately, reading it in Russian translation is quite difficult because the translation was made from Arabic interpretation, precisely from the modern Arabic interpretation of the Quran. The interpretation of the Quran needs to be changed. That is, it needs to be read differently in Arabic. The Arabic language has the peculiarity that one word can have multiple meanings, and so it's very easy to confuse and interpret the text. Without changing a single word, you can interpret the text in such a way that even though it won't change the topic, if it was clear before, it will become murky.
Basically, right now in Europe and America, especially, there is a movement known as Koranist or Koranism. And Professor Fomenko and Gleb Nosovsky have shown that the translations, yes, are a joke. 90% of the meaning is clear. It's pretty simple, straightforward. But the thing is, with the current Arabic language itself, it's a joke. That's what Nosovsky found. And regarding the Prophet Muhammad, it's like many people don't want to hear it, but the reality is, the evidence shows he came from Europe, not from the Middle East. And the evidence shows that the Europeans followed him, and he basically changed Europe. He changed Europe, and this is what how Nosovsky describes the Prophet Muhammad. Yes, let me just show you.
Already existed at that time, eventually overturned the existing world order and destroyed all the power that was in place.
This is what the Prophet Muhammad did. He changed the existing world order. That's what he did. Listen carefully what Nosovsky says.
Overturned the existing world order and destroyed all the power that was in place.
He destroyed all the power of the world order that was run by the Vatican, and the Vatican was based in Constantinople at the time. How important? Could you hear that properly when I played what Nosovsky said?
Yeah, I can hear it from my hand. I hope the recording picked it up just as well.
Oh, that's good. If not, I've sent you parts of what Nosovsky said. You could just add it on to the end of this video. So now this Prophet Muhammad, he basically changed the world. And the world that we're living in today, with many of its freedoms, actually came about because of the Prophet Muhammad and because of the Quran. Like, for example, I'll show an example of how the world changed because of the Prophet Muhammad. It's like, what do you call it? At that time, the Vatican started to get power because they took over Europe and many parts of the world. And they had their, it was many princes who were ruling. And what they did is, for example, women had no rights. Women were not allowed to divorce. Yes, there was no such thing as divorce. It's like you had to go back. They got beat up or called witches. They got burnt, etc. Everybody knows about this in the Middle Ages. So this is what the church did. Yes, wherever they went in the world, whether it was North Africa, whether it was in the Americas, whether it was India or Asia. So this is what Christianity was doing. Now, many people will want to say they interpreted the Bible wrong or whatever. They're the ones who published the Bible. It's time people woke up. Now they're just retranslating it and giving reinterpretations. I'm going to show examples of how the Bible is a forgery. Like I've declared and I've showed in my books, I've declared it openly that Hebrew, the way that the Bible is written, is actually just basically a dialect of Arabic or the way the language of the Arabic Quran. Yes, and I've shown examples, and I show how this Prophet Muhammad, they've reinvented his life story in Europe. They call him Mehmet II, yes, or Fatih Mehmet, yes, or in Russia they will call him Ulu Muhammad, who's part of the Mongol horde. But Muhammad, how could he have been a Mongol from China or Mongolia? So it's and then they invented the history to show that he's from the deserts of Arabia. But it looks like he only turned up in the 15th, 16th century. But we can't, we're not sure about those dates because there's problems in the way that the calendars were done, 100-year problem. Fomenko showed it's too long to go into here. Even a researcher from France, Didier Lacapelle, professor by his own right, who's done research on religions. I'll mention him in a minute more. So my book, Last Crusades, goes through this and of how this man called Mohammed, yes, Sultan Mohammed, changed the world order. And he basically came from Europe. And it was like the last Crusades. The Crusaders were not fighting the Muslims; they were fighting the Jerusalem, which is which is Constantinople. And Fomenko shows a lot to show that Constantinople was Jerusalem. And my book, Jerusalem is in Europe, goes through the different Jerusalems also, but my book focuses more to show that the Jerusalem in the Middle East is fake, because there are some people who are lying, saying that I just copied Fomenko's work. No, what Fomenko said, I've quoted him and I've shown that he said it, and I put it in my book. But my book shows more to show how they invented this modern Jerusalem in the Middle East. It's just a total fake. So the thing is, Nosovsky, he basically says that the evidence shows that this Prophet Muhammad, he destroyed the entire world order. How can anybody destroy the current world order? How great of a man do you need to be like that? You basically have to have the majority of the world on your side to achieve right now. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So this is the type of person this Prophet Muhammad was. So Nosovsky turned around and says that he says it and he shows it, that there's a problem that you can't translate from the current Arabic language. And the thing is, it's a fraud. This current Arabic language was invented by the Vatican and by the British and the French and the rest of them. Yes. So people can check from Vatican schools, and it's like they are going to say that nobody speaks the language of the Arabic Quran anymore. Nobody. It's same like I studied Spanish in school, like Buenos días, mi amigos. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás usted? Yeah, yes, like I learned it in school, but I can check Spanish and I can check if buenos means good or something like this, or días, days. I can check it. not from a dictionary. A dictionary isn't enough. I can call my friends in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, or in Cordoba in Argentina, or in Cordoba in Spain. Got friends in Mexico. I can call them in Guadalajara. I can ask them. Yes. But the Arabic, we can't really ask anybody because nobody speaks it. They learn it in school. So this is well known, that it's a well-known subject, how the Arabs, they don't have access because no one speaks it. They learn it in school. Who opened these schools? I've mentioned it in other videos, and I've gone through the details of this thing. My new books, two new books, specifically these, what do you call it, Secrets of the Kabbalah, the invention of the modern Arabic language, and in the 33 degrees of how they even invented the current shapes, played around with them. The spelling of many of the symbols in Arabic, I've shown, it's because it's like from the highest degree what they've done. Yes, basically I call it a crime. Yes, and so for Nosovsky, he pointed out that it's simple, it's easy to understand the Quran, but when you use the current Arabic dictionaries and the current Arabic language, it becomes a fake. Yes, and it's not just there. It's all Muslims. You'll find it on Muslim websites. Nobody speaks classical Arabic. They learn it in school, or they learn it. They're showing it on television and things like this. In the majority of Saudi Arabia couldn't even speak this language 100 years ago. Saudi Arabia. I've shown this in the video. Did the Quran come from Arabia? I've shown it. Maybe I'll write about it. All Muslims. You could read this yourself. From Muslim Pro. I just sent you a page. You could read it.
Yes, it says 274 million speak Arabic. Why am I not one of them? All Muslims don't speak Arabic, and all Arabic-speaking people are not Muslims. A clear heart and language we know is enough for him.
Oh, that's the next sentence. But basically, the Muslims don't speak Arabic. They learn it in school. And then the so-called Arabic-speaking people, not all of them are Muslims. Yes, some of them are Jewish, some of them are Christian. Yes. So the thing is, they learn it in school. Where did these school teachers learn this language from? I go through that in my book, Secrets of the Kabbalah, of where these teachers came from. It's a serious thing because now we've got all these Muslims or Quranists, yes, who are now making hundreds of videos in Europe and America. Yes, and they're making hundreds of videos trying to explain the Quran using websites like Corpus Quran and everything. And of course, there are some evil people who are saying, when I turn around and said that they should go to the mosque, yes, for the oral Quran, I've explained this in my book, 33 Degrees, yes, of how these manuscripts that are being used in Corpus Quran or Islam Awakened and everything else, they've actually changed the Arabic words themselves and the way that they're written. The exact root words are even invented for many of the words. This is the same with the Bible. When we go to Bible Hub, I'm going to give examples in a minute. The thing is, I spoke about this, the problem of the meanings of the 10% in the Quran with Didier Lacapelle. He's one of the greatest researchers in France, and he will go down in history as so. He's written about the chronology of religions, and he shows that Islam came recently, and the evidence shows Islam came from Europe. Yes, we can't seem to find this Prophet Mohammed in the Middle East. And he changed the world so much, like the church didn't allow divorce. Yes? And so the thing is, what do you call it? Yes, nor did it allow women to inherit things. So these are um, very horrible things. And the idea of divorce, yes, is actually in the Quran. Divorce was probably allowed before this church took over. Yes, they became so powerful during the Middle Ages. Yes. So the thing is, it says you can divorce, get remarried, and things like this. It goes through, it gives you guidelines in the Quran. Yes. If you're a Muslim, of course, you'll say it's your law. Yes. So the thing is, the Quran did these things. Like, for example, what do you call it? The churches. Yes, that time. I've sent you that about divorce. Now, the churches, for example, they didn't see women as people. Like if a woman spoke up, witches beat her up, things like this. There was many things. Yeah, so they didn't allow women to inherit things. Yes, for example, and it's still there today. So the thing is, what do you call it? You could read this yourself, like even today. Let's say, for example, Christians in Jordan. Read it. Many Christian families. What does it say?
Yes, many Christian families put pressure on their female members to relinquish even the half portion that Islamic law stipulates for female heirs.
So the church originally did not allow because the thing is what do you call it in the Middle Ages so you can't divorce. It's like you can't do anything. It was basically it was like a prison. So when Islam came, with this Prophet Muhammad, it was a revolution. Women, everybody, and women are the center of the family. They were teaching their children and things like this. It was like a global revolution. It's not just this. And they're lying to us about the history of slavery. Everyone knows wherever the Vatican, the British, the French, and all these empires, when they started going, and the Dutch, everywhere, and because of the Bible, they took the Bible with them. And the Bible allows slavery. It is well known. Yes. Have you received it? Yes. It's well known.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
thing is things like this, but people try to justify it to give it a nice excuse or nice whatever for it. But the thing is, if we just look at Islam itself, so the Quran came with this new message. And it says, if you want to be a good person, if you want to go down the right way, what does the Quran say? Here is, you could read it yourself. So what does this Allah of the Quran say?
Allah lists the freeing of a slave as a crucial act of righteousness and places this alongside the belief in Allah, the daily prayers, and giving charity.
Yes. So it was like a global revolution. People were fighting against anybody, like these church landowners and everything throughout Europe and everywhere else, Africa and Asia, that saying God has said it, you've got to free the slaves, got to free them. It was like a war, an international global war. And so what happens is, what do you call it? Yes, um, what happened is, the existing world order totally collapsed. And this is why they had to invent all the history during and after the Renaissance and change everything, because what happened is the world changed. Not only this, yes, what do you call it? Yes, there is something called, they say it's charity, and they say it's, they're trying to say it's charity, and they're trying to say, what do you call it? Yes, zakat just means charity. But what happened is when the Quran came, what the people in power had to do, yes, it did something big. It's like when we look at Europe, especially in Europe, yes, we notice that now many governments around the world have started doing it. Is they've started to what do you call it? Yes, give unemployment money if you're not working, housing, and distribution of wealth. Of course, many things that we see in the world today happened because the Prophet Muhammad turned up several centuries ago. So this Quran destroyed the old global order. And people woke up saying, hey, these people in power cannot just do this to us. We're not their slaves. We can travel. We can get married. We can get divorced. We can marry who we choose. This was not allowed at the time that the Vatican and their boys were in power. So what the Quran says, yes, so many of these Quranists, yes, are trying to say we don't understand the origin of modern Islam and many of the practices. So here you can read what the Quran says, just the first 3 lines.
The Salit International, as they are, those
Yes, it's a
who,
translation basic. Yes.
yes,
If we,
and they are those who, if we give them authority in the land, establish prayer and give zakah and enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong, and to Allah
Okay.
belongs the outcome of all matters.
Okay. So they put we there, but I showed before that if you translate different manuscripts of the Quran based on the manuscripts, one will say he, one will say we. Yeah, you could. One day they're going to say it doesn't say he, it says she. So these games they play, but basically, this is just a simple translation. What many people have said that the people who get power, they have to establish a type of prayer system or something, and they have to establish this zakah or sadaqah, yes, or charity system, and they have to establish that are laws that are right, and laws that say, for example, it's like don't go past the traffic light, forbid what is wrong, depending on your land. So it's the people in power who should do this. So now the thing is, Nosovsky and Fomenko show that when Islam was being destroyed in Europe, and these people wanted to get power again, the Vatican and their people, they ran from Constantinople, which was Jerusalem. They ran from there and set up new headquarters only in the 15th, 16th centuries, and that city was called Rome in Italy. And they called it Rome. And I discuss this more in simpler terms in my book, The Last Crusade. And they did this, and from there they started all their, attacks, killing people, skulls and bones in buildings that look like industrial buildings, which they converted into churches. And Fomenko even says that they just turn around and said these are, Catholic churches or Gothic churches or whatever churches. So I've shown this in the book Skulls and Bones, that they started doing mass scale murder, everything to get control of the ordinary people again, because the ordinary people got their freedom. This is what the Crusades were about. That this Prophet Mohammed, people joined him in Germany, in France, in Holland, Scandinavia, England, all over the world. People joined him, and his army came from Europe and then attacked Constantinople. This is what the evidence shows. And there are problems. Is he the Mongol Muhammad, or is he the Arabian Muhammad, or is he the Fatih Sultan Mehmed II, or is he even possibly even Maximilian or Maximilian or whatever in the Holy Roman Emperor? The thing is, they've distorted his identity, and there's many duplicates. Same like Christ, you can see in Andronicus, and Andronicus wasn't a real person, an invented character. Yes, in the Byzantium Empire, and the Fomenko and his team found more than 70 different reflections, copies of Christ that they've invented, 70 different versions, maybe up to 100. So with the story of the Prophet Muhammad, even in Asia, the fake history of Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni, yes, they've invented multiple different copies that he was a massacrer, he was doing this, but it's the opposite. The skulls and bones are found inside the churches, not inside the mosques. They were killing people, they were murdering people to get power back. Yes, and then this war continued all the way throughout the 17th century, the 30 Years' War, the 18th century, Napoleon and all this, and they went to invade Moscow. It was all to do with because of the Prophet Muhammad. And then, it got to the First World War to, destroy people in the countryside in the Second World War, where they were deliberately destroying the countryside, and the majority of the people lived in the countryside in Europe and throughout the world, because the countryside was developed at that time and it was beautiful. You could build your house anywhere, you could do whatever you want. So this is in my book Orphan Trains. So Muhammad was this great person that the thing is, that the people became, Nosovsky will describe them fanatical. Yes, they became fanatical. I mean, who the hell wants to be a slave? Yeah, do you? It's like the word Christian basically in Slavic basically means slave. Did you know this?
Yes, Slav, slave. Yeah, I do not want to be a slave, but we are
Yes.
all a
I'm
slave,
not
I guess, more or
I'm
less.
not Slav. The word Christian itself.
Oh,
Christian.
Christian. Okay, I
It's
didn't know the word
British.
Christian itself means slave. No, I did not know
If
that.
you become a Christian in the 15th century, it means they've just turned you into a slave. You understand? You can marry who they want. they decide you can't go outside the farm. You're just working for them. That's it. You're a slave for life. You've got to go to the church. Yes, it means, and you obey them. You have to call them the Don or Adonai, like it says in the Bible, like the Don. Yes, that's how the church priests were called. Of course, then the Protestants movement happened. That was the Prophet Muhammad, but they've lied and invented the fake history of Protestantism because they want you to accept the biblical manuscripts. But let me show you, for example, a fraud of the biblical manuscripts. Like, for example, let me just show you. The word God, in the so-called manuscripts of the Bible. So now you can read this yourself so that people can check this themselves. Like Alpha and the Omega, they're trying to tell us it means the word Elah or Allah with the letter E. But Alpha is the letter A. So we know it's Allah. Yes, from the lettering. So now here it is. So you could read this. The original, what is the Hebrew letter? What letter is Aleph or the Alpha? Is it letter B or C?
The original pictograph underlying the Hebrew letter A is the word Aleph, but the English word is
Yes,
cow.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, what is the Hebrew letter for A? Aleph. That's it. The rest and whatever. Don't not want to talk about the cow. Yes. So now here, in a screenshot to show you what the letter A looks like, these so-called biblical manuscripts. Does this look like the letter A that we see in Europe?
No, it does not.
Hebrew letter? No. So, but you pronounce it as the letter A. This is the letter A, not the letter Z. Yes? Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Yes. So this is simple. Yes, this is simple that anybody can understand this, even a child. So now I'm going to open, what you call it, so-called biblical manuscripts. We are going to look at the word God. Yes, what I'm going to do is I've highlighted it in blue, and you've seen what the letter A looks like in Hebrew. So now this is what they're telling us when they even translate the Bible. Yes. So have a look at this. Can you see the letter A on this new page? I've highlighted it in blue. Can you see
Yes,
it?
I
Yes
see
or
it.
no? So
Yes.
now this is the word, and they're going to say this says Elohim or Eloha or Elah, but it's letter A. How can it be letter E? So they're lying. It says the word Allahum. Now the word Allahum, the Turks say it, Allahumma. Yes, it says it there, Allahumma or Allahum, however you want to pronounce it, but on purpose, they're telling you it's Elohim, Elohim, instead of, how the Muslims will say Allahum or Allahumma, the Turks. Yes, if you go to Turkey, yes, they're reading the Quran and the word Allahumma is there. Yes, you will see it. Yes, in modern Turkish, it has a different meaning. Allahum. Yes, but the thing is, but in the mosques, the Turks, they read this out. Yes, so the thing is, they played around. Now, for example, what they've done to the Arabic dictionaries is this: when they invented the Arabic dictionaries by the 18th century, they didn't speak classical Arabic. In the 19th century, they updated these dictionaries. Yes, and what they did is you can read this yourself. Like, for example, you could the word tayyib, that. Read it. For example, this one word. What do you find?
Yes, so tayyib is an Arabic word which can have many different meanings in both standard Arabic and Arabic dialect. Tayyib can be written
No,
using.
that's enough.
Mhm.
That's enough. So the point I'm trying to get through is this. They invented classical Arabic in Europe. The evidence shows in Italy, France, and places like that. That maybe people helped in England and in Holland in the 18th century. And in Spain or wherever the Vatican's allies and the Jesuits and the rest of them. Yes, Fomenko shows this. I go into it in detail in my two books. So the thing is, so what happened is many people from Europe were running from Europe while they reconquered Europe to get it under control. That's how they set up the nation states, created fake languages. In the 18th and 19th centuries, they blew up the countryside. This is all in my books. In Fomenko's books, he goes through many things of the forgeries by the Jesuit, inventing all these languages. So they created one. When you open up an Arabic dictionary, it's too late. We don't know what they did. Yes, in these Arabic dictionaries that people are using online, for example. So I've shown you. Elohim actually says Allahim. Yes, so they've invented this. Yes, we've got that we've got that correct. You understood this?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, you've understood that. So that then I can close the page. If you want more examples, let me see. I think I had a page open. Ah, yes. So I've got a page open here, and you will see not Elohim, just the word Elah or Allah. Yes. So what they've done is invented the pronunciation, and my books explains nobody could speak this Hebrew. So they've invented the pronunciation. So here, before I go on to the Arabic, let's have a look here. So here it says the word Yahweh. So the word Yahweh actually says Hawa, and Hawa actually means he. Yes, it's known by oral transmission in the mosques. This is why I've told people go to the mosques. Never mind the dictionaries. So in Hebrew, they've invented a meaning for it, saying it's Yahweh, and they're claiming it's a personal name of God. Now, can you see the letter A here in the Bible in Deuteronomy? Can you see it?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Deuteronomy
they're saying
4:1.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. They're saying it says Ella there with the E,
Mm-hmm.
alleging it's a pronunciation. But it basically says the word Allah there. Yes, it says Allah, but
Yes.
nobody's going to accept this. It's the letter A. I don't see the letter C. I don't see the letter D. I don't see the letter E. I don't see the letter F. So that's what they've done. And they've done a similar thing with Quran websites such as Corpus Quran. I'm going to go through it and other things, and many Muslims are just they've got no idea. So many people are going to say, oh, I'm attacking them. No, I'm attacking the history. It's a fraud. So what they've done is in these dictionaries, one, they invented this language. Then they were compiling the dictionaries. Yes, while people were speaking these Arabic dialects. I will explain them in a minute. Yes, so the dialects, there's over 20, maybe 50. So in the dictionaries, they put down, let's say, for example, there was a dictionary being compiled in Lebanon by an alleged Christian who's trained by the Vatican, the 19th century. Yes, I forgot his name right now off the top of my head. People go and check. This is one of the major dictionaries they use today. It's been updated, played around with by over 100 people or 1,000 people throughout the entire Middle East. That many people, every year, new additions, new deletions, new whatever. So the thing is, even the pronunciation in the manuscripts shows that the manuscripts are a total fraud. Like, for example, I've checked this and I've verified this with Muslims myself. Like, I showed this with, what's his name? Raphael. Yes, I showed this with Raphael, and I'm going to show you a bit more. You must have heard of this simple sentence where Muslims say Bismillah or something. Yes.
Yes, yes.
In the name of God. Yeah, it's a common thing. So now the thing is, if we it's like Muslims know that the word means Bismillah. It means in the name of Allah. Yes, in the name of God. So they're not going to make a mistake in spelling out this word. So now almost all of these Quran manuscripts, which they say are ancient and they're authentic, they're hundreds of years old, over 1,000 years old. Almost all of them say the words Basmallah, or they say, or some of them say Bismillah, but Basmallah al-Rahman al-Rahim. This is what they say. Now, even today in the West especially, now everybody knows it's Bismillah, oral Quran. The majority of the Muslims couldn't read and write 100 years ago. Even in Europe, the majority couldn't read and write 100, 200 years ago. So now they're declaring it says Basmallah al-Rahman al-Rahim. Now, going back to the previous page, anybody who knows a little simple Arabic will notice that they put the letters A and L just for a mathematical code so that it adds up to 19. There's 19 letters there. And also so that it forms 786 in the gematria, because they've invented the current Arabic alphabet. So it forms 786 to form the symbol for in India, and also the fraudulent spelling. So the spell is a magic spell. Yeah, so what they did is they invented the shapes, even the symbol for Allah there. That's a fraud. Yes, that's before the first round circle. Before means on the right-hand side in Western terms. So they've invented even the spelling of the word Allah, even on there. Yes, which is actually to do with black magic. Many people don't know this. Now, this black magic, it's too deep. Yes, so many people will actually find it shocking. So I don't really talk about this. But anybody who knows black magic, yes, you know, will know what that's about. And that's in my book, 33 Degrees. It goes through the explanation of how it's sexually they created many of the shapes, because we can see that how many of the letters and everything, how they standardized it. It's different in the handwritings in Russia, in Poland, in Ukraine, in Germany, in Austria, and in France a few centuries ago. And there's different letters. Like, for example, they don't even have the letter P in the current Arabic. That's why many of them say Philistine or Palestine, or because they don't have the letter P. I mean, that's strange. An alphabet of what do you call it, one of the greatest civilizations forgot to have the letter P. Isn't that strange? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, very strange.
Yes. So the thing is, but they've got the letter P in let's say in what do you call it, Northern Europe. In many of the Arabic writings, we find a P there. Isn't that strange? But they've got it there, and it's the same language. It's actually Arabic. So if somebody says something, you know, I'm not making this up. You can actually check historical documentation. This is in my book, The 33rd Degree. Yes, and some people will say I'm just making up about the Allah symbol. There is a secret to this. I'm not making up the story about this. Like, here is the Allah symbol, and anybody can check. Even with the current Arabic alphabet, you can spell. Spell is to do with the magic spelling, and I've sent it there to show you an example of how they are spelling Allah in Arabic. Have you received it?
Yes, I have it. Yep.
So now you could spell it in different ways, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the way Allah is spelled, let's say in the Hebrew Bible, with just 3 letters, you can do it with 3 letters. Even here. So the thing is, why they got all these symbols, symbolism, to do with Freemasonry, it's to do with black magic and to do with theosophy and these other things. And this current Allah symbol. Who invented this and why? When the majority of the current Muslims even read or write 100 years ago. So this is something that my book goes into. So now, why is it Basmallah? Yes. So the thing is, in the dictionaries, they added on because they knew the dialects there. Then, from after these dictionaries and these dialects, they invented the modern Hebrew 100 years later or 50 years later. So that's even bigger joke. So that makes the Bible a bigger mess. Yes, but anybody who reads the Bible itself will find that many of the words, if you just look carefully at the letters and then ignore the pronunciation that they've put, Elah, and pronounce it Allah, then you're actually going to find it that is written in a similar manner as the Quran. Yes, and you will actually feel how it's been changed or modified compared to the original, because they've done it for gematria and other things. Now, in the Quranic manuscripts, so that's one example of what they've done. I showed you Basmallah al-Rahman al-Rahim. I've never heard of this from any Muslims that I've spoken to. And it's not just their Corpus Quran and Islam Awakened. Yeah. And what they have done is they've totally changed many other things. It's like what they've done. Let me just send you a picture. And this is one. They've done this in hundreds. It's actually in the so-called Egyptian manuscript, Tunisian manuscript, Damascus manuscript. They're claiming are centuries old, ancient, authentic. But not a single Muslim in the world pronounces it like that. Maybe the Quranists have started doing it. But I want you to pronounce this sentence there at the top. It starts from Mina. Read it. Green circle.
Mina I Shaitani
No,
I.
that's an L. That's a letter L.
Oh, okay. Al
Minal.
Shaitani Al
You
Rajmi.
start from the beginning. Start from the beginning and say it fast, as if
Okay.
you're fluent. Say
Mina I Shaitani I Rajmi. Rajimi.
it's not an I, it's an L twice. In both circles, it's a letter I. Maybe it's not clear. I'll type it out
Oh,
for you.
okay.
Now pronounce it.
Mina I Shatani and
No,
I
that's not an
Rajimi.
I. That's a letter L.
Oh,
That's a letter
okay,
L.
sorry. Okay. I
Small
apologize.
letter L.
Let me start from the beginning. Mina al Shatani al Rajimi.
There's no letter. Yes. Okay. So say it faster. I've sent it again. Now say it as one word. Say it fast. Because the
Okay.
Quran is an oral.
Mina al Shatani al Rajimi. Rajim. Min al
Min al shaitan.
Shatin. Min
Yes,
al
this is what
Shatan
the
al
al
Rajim.
rajim.
Okay.
That's what the manuscripts say. But
Yes.
now we got a serious problem because if you go to the mosques, in the mosques, nobody says this.
Mm.
Yes. So I contacted many mosques last month and I was surprised. And they say it. Now you can pronounce it from the mina, from the second word. Just pronounce the second and the third word in the page that I've just sent you now. How do they pronounce it in the mosques?
Mina Shatan Nirajim. Nirajim.
It's min or rajim. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, the Muslims, everyone knows they talk about jinns made from some type of fire. So now, when you go through that there, yes, they've invented this system to say that there's three root words or something in words, blah blah blah. So now, minash shaitanir rajim. If you're when you talk to somebody oral language, it's nothing like a written language. Many words are joined together. We find this even in biblical language. So now,
Mm-hmm.
when we have there on purpose, they've deleted the word ash. Because if you say min al shaitan, you've removed min shaitan. That is so important because in a fire you have ashes. This is very important. And this is something to do with the Kabbalah and Freemasonry. Yes, it's something to do with why the Kaaba in Mecca is not a cube. This is a very important thing. Why the Muslims failed to make it a cube, why the cube has got to do more with Kabbalah and black magic. Yes, and that's why the
Mm-hmm.
cube in masonry they call it the ashlar. And this is explained more in my book 33 Degrees, where I'm in Freemasonry and other organizations, and why the Hindus put ashes shirwad. Yeah, have you heard of ashirwad? When people are getting married, they put ashes on their head,
Yes.
like
Yep.
they rub it on the head, but many people might not know if it's ashes. They call it ashirwad and notice ash. So now the Muslims are saying that this is, part of the devil or Satan, shaitan. So now on purpose, on manuscripts, they put al shaitan. So now many people are going to, and they put Basmallah al Rahman al Rahim for people to think it's three words. But if you read it from the oral Quran, mosques, it gives another meaning. You see. So now, when I told people to go to the mosques, for meanings, I mean the big mosque where you'll find hundreds of people, not a local one with sectarian things. Like, for example, I mentioned to you before, maybe in Europe and America, people have heard of this. You spoke about him in your use that many young people might heard of a man called Sheikh Imran Hussein. But the thing is, like for example, I checked in many Middle Eastern countries. The majority of the people there have never even heard of him. Yes, Sheikh Imran Hussein is a nobody in the Middle East. In Turkey, nobody's heard of him. Yeah, well, the majority, 95%, 90% at least. Yeah, nobody's heard of him in Uzbekistan. Nobody's heard of him in Kosovo. Nobody's heard of him in Russia. Well, the majority of the Muslims. Nobody's heard of him in Libya. No, the majority. So if people are turning around and saying in Europe and America, that's something else. You see, it's because the Koranist movement is in Europe and America. And as Gleb Nosovsky and Fomenko, their team, well, Nosovsky says it clearly, they pointed out that this modern Arabic language is a joke. Now, the thing is, people pronounce things in different ways. Like if I say it, many Muslims are going to say it's blasphemy. So the word Bismillah, they might not believe it. But you go to other parts of the world, pronunciation, some people pronounce it Bismillah. I'm not joking. Some
With a
people
V.
pronounce it Bismillah. B or a W even, Bismillah. You see, it's like you could be born into a German family, you could be born into a Danish family with a Danish pronunciation. Somebody in Denmark could say Bismillah, and you will think it's something, but that's their pronunciation. So there is no set pronunciation, and I'm going to prove it here. Yes, there's Muslims, in Europe and America, they seem to think they, just off these Quran manuscripts and, corpus Quran and whatever. Here you go. Bismillah, Masallah, Masallah, Subhanallah. Some people will say Mashallah in Turkey. So here, let me just go through here. Let me just show. There's different people. So here we've got Friday prayer. Yes, the Muslims have it. And they're saying, come, Bismillah. So you have it. So it depends where you are from. Yes, in some places in Africa, Bismillah also. Yes, with the W. So now there's Bismillah. So no matter what are you going to do? Are you going to beat these people? Burn their tongue? Is this what you're going to do? So the reality is people are pronouncing it in different ways. Like here, let me just show you what you call it, Bismillah. They're writing it with a V. So the spelling is actually, these people haven't done it on purpose. It's because that's how they pronounce it. Yes, in certain places. So the thing is, it depends on your pronunciation. So now those manuscripts that we've got, yes, that they're claiming that are ancient, like here is what do you call it here, Bismillah, even in India. When I say India, I mean the Indian subcontinent. Yeah, maybe this is somewhere in India. You could see it's got some Devganari things there. It says Bismillah. Can you see it? And
Yeah.
Bismillah, depending on your pronunciation. So you can't. So I'm saying this. I have to show the evidence. Some people are going to say it's blasphemy. So these dictionaries that they're using, they've got some dialect meanings. They inserted these meanings in the current Arabic dictionary. Yes. What do you call it? Yes. There was in Lebanon. For example, it was from a Vatican school that the Vatican did. What do you call it? In the 19th century and early 20th century, but they had did this. It's a long story, but people can check it. Whereby they invented many of the meanings and inserted the dialect meanings. So now, what people have to do is check the current peoples. And, like for example, in Morocco, you went to Tanja, and many people they'll call it Spanish there, but Spanish, is half Arabic, maybe more. Yes, so is French, half Arabic, maybe more. So is Latin, half Arabic, maybe more. They're going to say, like for example, they'll say the word heart in Latin is cor. Yes, and the Quran is read from the core. That's why it's called Koran. Yes, and the Quran was spelt in Latin Koran, or the book of the heart. Yes, so these things. So the thing is, what they did was, like for example, a pocket-sized Arabic grammar. Yes, was made in Lebanon and things like this with the British, the French, and other people who were involved in the Vatican. People will have to check this themselves. It's a long story, but the sad thing is, yes, many people are now looking at these dictionaries, yes, and they think that they found the meanings. So here, let me just show you the first modern Arabic dictionary encyclopedia. Yes, based on this so-called fake classical Arabic that was invented in Europe in the 17th, 18th centuries. I say more 18th century. but it started by the Renaissance people, and because they spoke Arabic. So we have Butrus al-Bustani, the first modern encyclopedia, yes, for the Arabic language. And from there, they did updates and other things. Now, if anybody looks at Butrus al-Bustani, yes, what do you call it? Yes, what he went to, yes, was a school that the Vatican opened in the Middle East. Yes, uh, um, he went to a school and things like this. Let me just find his school, the school he went to. You can't find his true history. They've hidden it because they don't want you to know. But because he could speak the dialects, so that many people will think he was an Arab. It's nothing to do with Arabs, but he went to what do you call it? These schools, college, yes, and studied in for 10 years. They're going to say Ein Warka School or somewhere. I've forgotten off the top of my head. I'm trying to find it. Yes, and so what do you call it, and things like that. So this is what they'll say, Boutros al-Bustani. Yes, I get mixed up with his name, Boutros Ghali or somebody from United Nations. So we studied at Ein al-Warka School, and it was a Jesuit school or whatever, or run by the Vatican Catholics, or maybe they even call it Protestant, but you could read it yourself about this Ein Warka to less than
Let's see. This is 1 second. You sent me a new one. Yes, Ein Warka Gosta Convent. After less than 100 years, in 1889, the convent was transformed into a school as the Patriarch Yusuf Estefan wanted. This school was nominated by one.
So that means when Boutros Ghali was trained there, it wasn't even a school. It was more of a convent, where you're indoctrinated, you're working for them.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
see?
mm-hmm.
And then the thing is, this was linked to like the history of Jean-Louis Boucard that is a total fraud, almost as if he didn't exist. I've shown the evidence for that to original Quran from Arabia with Raphael Commenti on his channel. I'm probably going to write about it. But what do you call it? It had a lot to do with these people, the people who invented Islamic history, known as Bukhari and things like this. I go into more detail about the invention of what do you call it, of how the British and the French and the Vatican did this. The details of this, of the Hadith and many other things, are in Secrets of Kabbalah and the story of Aisha. Yes, many people are saying, I don't think it's true, this and that. You don't know. Many people are saying maybe she was 6 or maybe she was 9. The whole story was invented from Kabbalah black magic or Masonry black magic. You're going to say, how
Mm-hmm.
did they do this? It was invented with symbolism. And it's to do with the symbol of Allah itself. So when people are looking at the current symbol of Allah, yes, I'll show you. Many people will not understand how black magic works. It's to do with to make you believe in something. It's like it's hard to believe, but the story was invented from this symbol. Mohammed married Aisha, or Aisha is supposed to represent Ash. I know, as I told you before, that's why they removed the word Ash from the manuscripts. Ash Shaitan. That's why she's called Aisha. Ash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Ash means fire. So the thing is, and the jinns or the spirits, you must have heard stories. What are they made from? Are they made from earth or fire or water? What are the jinns made from
Smokeless
according?
fire is what I remember from the
Some type of
Quran.
fire. Yes,
Yes.
fire that you basically can't see. So now a fire and so ashes. So what's her name?
Aisha.
It married to spouse. Ash, Aisha, Esh, Ashes. So they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to say Muhammad married here, or the
Mm-hmm.
fire god.
Mm-hmm.
You see, what a fire is Satan. So Muhammad loved Satan. That's the whole purpose. Like 666 came several centuries ago. Or the symbol, just rotate that Allah symbol sideways towards your left side. What number do you see?
33.
Yes, the 33rd degree. It's black magic. So they invented the story of Aisha from there. Now, this, the secret of this, in my book, 33rd Degrees. These are very, very shocking things. That it's unbelievable how they invented it. So many of these things, like many people are saying, Arabic may be divine, the symbol, the writing, the roots words, the spelling. Sorry, no. This is why I said, if you want to know the Quran, you go to the oral Quran, because these manuscripts, Corpus Quran, can you see it? It's a forgery. If people are pronouncing it Ash-Shaitan Rajim, the manuscript says Al-Shaitan Al-Rajim. Haven't they changed it?
Yes, they did. Yes.
So if people are pronouncing it Bismillah, Hir Rahman, Hir Rahim, yes, we don't know where the word breaking is, and they're telling you it's Al Rahman, Al Rahim. Isn't this a forgery in the manuscripts, in these Quran websites? Isn't this a forgery? Haven't they
Yes.
changed the meanings?
Yes, yes.
And that's what Fomenko, Gleb Nosovsky, a professor from Moscow, what he has said, that we have to, you can't go to this current Arabic. This current Arabic, as we can see, the Jesuits and the rest of them, I've just shown a bit of the history. So many people, there was a stupid comments by some of these dogs. I call them dogs because what they're doing is they're misleading people with their fraudulent history because they want to believe in their Koranist or Koranism. Oh, by the way, call this video Anatoly Fomenko and Koranists. Because the fact of the matter is, yes, these dictionaries are a fraud. The modern Arabic history is a fraud. Yes. And who put it there, when, how? It's in those two books. Yes, you know. And I'll write another third book, go into more detail. 33 Degrees and Secrets of Kabbalah goes through it. Yes. So it goes through it. But the Allah symbol, don't you find it suspicious that it's the number 33?
Very much. Yes. Very suspicious.
Suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And why is it a design? Why have they turned it into a design? When it just could be just common spelling, ALA or ALH. If you want to write it ALA, that's Allah. Or if you want to write it Allah, ALH, that's it. So why have they turned it into some symbolic thing with dots and dashes and all the other things? Isn't that suspicious?
Yes. Maybe it's a kind of spell.
Yes. It's to do with a magic spell. Yes. What do you call it? I'll show some of the the meaning to this. And there is the alpha and the omega. It's like it's the alpha and the omega spells Allah. So this is the name that people were using in Europe for the name of God. But that doesn't mean that the people designed the symbols of Allah and alpha and omega. Yes, it's like so that's another thing. If anybody looks at the symbols for Allah and Omega, and these are the things they're going to find the same masonry in the magic, it's because you'll say, how is the magic? Let me show you how this magic is so deep. Yes, what they have done, that no matter what, even for the Quranists, it's going to be difficult to explain this to them because they have been brainwashed for many years. Even you and even me. So it takes a long time. I'll show you how they brainwashed you with the magic spell. How many years did you spend learning the design and the shapes of the alphabet? Look at this picture. Think, while you were a child, have you received the picture?
Yes, yes, I got it. Yeah. Indoctrination.
Picture.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Brainwashing. Yeah, let's use easy words. I don't like using difficult words because I want to just make it simple and clear for people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
opened all these schools all over the world. British, the French, the Italians, the Dutch, the Spanish, their empires, the Russians. Why would they be so kind? Sure that you're learning all these alphabets, Cyrillic, Greek, Latin, English, French, modern Arabic, and everything. I mean, the Europeans opened all these Arabic schools, if you check. So what they did is they know the shape of the letters will in your brain. You're spending days, hours, 10 years just to learn the alphabet, words, and yes, from the age of
Mm-hmm.
like 5 to 15, 10 years is the minimum schooling all over the world now, basically. Yes, isn't that called brainwashing? But people have no ideas that the shapes of the letters, the spelling, the words, they make you believe in the dictionary. They make you believe that people that all over the world have these meanings, and they've been things like this. But if you go through even these Arabic dictionaries, how they whatever, yes. And the thing is, the Catholic schools and all this Boutros, whatever. So what they did is they found poor people when the Europeans opened up these Arabic schools. Poor people. And they just sent them there to teach them to read and to write. But many of these people now are the Christians of the Middle East. You could read how they opened these schools. For example, how did they open this one? Boutros Bustani. The school was
The school was based on a national principles and was open to all without distinction of race or creed. It differed in this respect from the other.
basically,
Yes,
you've got the message. So
yes.
they opened a national school, yes, of Al Bustani and things like this, named it for him. Yeah, so what they did is this is just one, but they've opened many of these other schools. They opened hundreds of them, yes, Christian schools throughout the Middle East, yes. And then they invited Muslims, and the Christians, or the current Arab Christians, they weren't even Christian until these schools opened up in the late 19th century, because they found many of these people actually came from Europe, who were running away, who intermarried, because in Europe they were fighting skulls and bones, destroying the farms, and many Europeans ran south. And I showed this in a video, did the Quran come from Arabia? They'll have to watch that to go through deeper, or I'm going to put it more in my new book soon. Yes, about the Quran. So the
Hmm.
thing is, now the question is, yes, where is this original Arabic? We can see it's in Europe. So I've said it before to many people. You should look through the Germanic languages and many other places, Latin, French, and other things, as well as the Arabic dictionaries. And the mosque is important because because what we can see is that video. Let me just find it. Yes, that I did with what's his name, with Raphael, because this video was very important. I'll go through some of it here with you now, because there's going to be many people who haven't watched it. They're just going to claim that whatever, and who haven't read their books, writing a stupid comment saying, "Why should we go to the mosques?" Now, the thing is, I'm going to send you a picture. There's many pictures. These are not pictures by artificial intelligence or by Christians. The Muslims who went to Hajj from Pakistan, from Iran, from India, yes, from Turkey, from Egypt, from Morocco, they took photographs in Saudi Arabia, yes, throughout the 20th century. This is what the majority of the people look like in Saudi Arabia in the early 20th century. Have you found the picture?
Yes, yes, the black
How
and
would
white
you
picture.
describe them?
Very
Would you describe these people?
primitive. I'm not sure if that's the right
They
word.
read and write?
I don't think so. That would not be my
Now,
guess.
this is in the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s.
Hmm.
Yeah, even
Hmm.
going into 1950s. Do you think the Quran came from there, or the Arabic language came from there?
No, I do not. No.
So why is Saudi Arabia the center of Islam? We have a serious problem here.
Yeah.
You see? So
Hmm.
now the thing is, this is from an Arabic website. I've forgotten which one, and Google Translate has done it. You read this, you could read this yourself. You could see part of a picture there. They've got no shoes. So many of the clothes that these people are wearing, Muslims came from Egypt, or the wealthy ones for Hajj or pilgrimage from Turkey, and they just gave them a shirt or some clothes. But you could read this yourself. And what do we find about the people of Saudi Arabia? This is in the 1950s.
Yeah, figure one, this photograph shows two Saudi boys at a well near the town of Al Khunfuda in Mecca, a province in Saudi Arabia, March 31st, 1946. At the
While you're
time,
talking, I'm going to tell you to stop while you're talking in each sentence, because then I can explain it.
okay,
One,
go ahead.
this photograph is from Mecca province, and they show two boys. So let me send you a picture of these two boys so that people can see it. Yes? So this is a photograph in the 1950s, 1946, I mean, 40s, 50s. So this is Saudi Arabia in the 1950s. People who went to Hajj, this is Mecca. This is Mecca. Now, in the 1950s, now they don't even have shoes. They've got some white cloth there. They couldn't make that. That was made in a machine, in maybe in Cairo or in Istanbul or in Mumbai or even in in Europe. Yeah, it was made by machines. As you can see, they don't have the capability to make this. So these pilgrims who took the photograph, who gave them the clothes, before they took the photograph, before they donated that cloth that they've wrapped around there, yes, they've wrapped it around in a primitive way. As you can see, how have they wrapped it around their body? You see?
Yeah, it just looks like it's just rolled onto
Yes.
their, yeah,
Yes. Yes. So as you can see, what would they have looked like before those people came from another country and gave it them?
probably very much naked.
Yes, naked. So what type of Islam did naked people have? Or what type of a language did they have?
Probably not much of a language.
Yes, a simple primitive one. And that means that they didn't write the Quran. That means they didn't write any of the Hadith books either. You see? And there's thousands of photographs in case somebody is going to say the Europeans made them. No, these photographs are made by Muslims themselves, people who went from Egypt, who went from Turkey, who went from Beirut, who went from Baghdad. They were rich people and they took photographs and they gave charity and things like that because they've gone to do pilgrimage. So you could read the rest. If I stop you halfway, you'll please stop. I'll show you. But carry on reading. At the beginning of
At the time of the
the time
developing
that developed.
Yeah, at the time, the developing industry had not yet begun to change the country. The amazing aspect of the image is that it could easily have been taken centuries, if not 2 millennia earlier. Notice the camel that helped create trade route about 930 to 900 BC. Absolutely nothing
Hey,
had
stop.
changed.
Stop,
Yes.
stop, 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 stop. That's just fake history propaganda. Do you think naked people were trading just because they've got camels? That's your
No.
own interpretation because now they're saying this in the history books because they want you to think Prophet Muhammad was there and there was trade routes. But what do you call it? Yes, carry on reading and then you'll notice this. Yeah.
Absolutely nothing had changed in Arabia for centuries. Only the one boy's shirt looks like at least a bit modern. The people of Saudi Arabia were among the poorest and most backward in the world. The photograph is not in accord with the Western image of Arabia, but this was how most of the people of Arabia dressed. These boys were, of course, poor, but this was the state of most of the population.
The majority of the population, excluding Mecca, Medina, and Jeddah in the 50s and 60s, only those three places and maybe a few other places, basically the people were naked. And if the thing is, if people are looking for the Saudi royal palace in the 1930s and 40s, it's just around the corner from there. And there's only a few thousand people that are living in Riyadh. Yes, at the time. Today, if you go there, what do you call it? Yes, if you look at Riyadh today, yes, it only started changing in the 1980s and 1990s. Yes, if you look at Riyadh today, you're going to think, whoa, it's mega big difference that you're going to think it's unbelievable that it's what do you call it, a city full of skyscrapers and things like this. Yes. So the thing is, those people who came there in 1937, Riyadh basically didn't even exist 100 years ago. So these people couldn't read or write or anything. I'm going to go through the history more, and then you will see that what do you call it? There was not even a Hajj system. Somebody set it up. Yes, who set it up? I'm going to explain it. It's nothing to do with fake or something. So it was set up in the last few centuries. About 400 or 500 years ago was like the basic beginning. Yes, but there was like maybe a building there before then. And of course, some people will say, there was a Kaaba in Yemen or something. No, this was made by the British and their allies. They used to drop pilgrims off in Aden, coming from India, especially in Indonesia and from China. or Indochina, they brought pilgrims. The early 20th century, they used to scam people before they went Mecca north. That's a long story. That's in the video with Raphael, and I'll write more about it. Some people think that maybe there was an ancient Kaaba in Yemen. No, that was people saying, "Hey, let's fool these people. They don't know anything because it's just a desert. Yes, we're going to what do you call it? Yes, make money out of them, take all their money. These tourists. You see, that's what happens in many countries. Yes. So can you see the big difference? So the thing is, would you say that the Arabic language came from these people? Yes. And
No.
many Muslims took these. Have a look at this. Yes. So this is in the 1940s, 50s, 60s. We can see it that the majority lived like that. Did the Quran come from these people? Did the Arabic language, did
No. No.
they invent the Hadith of history? No.
No.
It's clear that they didn't, because we're talking about, even let's have a look at Saudi Arabia before the 1980s, in the 1960s, 70s, and early 1980s. So now it's become the oil money started to change people. You could see the homes in the background, and this is how they're it was, the people had to get used to dressing in clothes. They found it difficult. They could go, do I have to wear this? It's uncomfortable. You see? Yes. So this is what we can see. Yes. And it's in Mecca province and Medina province, the photographs of non-Muslims were not even allowed there. So Muslims took the photograph. You see, thousands of
Mhm.
people went there on pilgrimage. They took photo souvenirs. We've got thousands and thousands of photos, and we can see Saudi Arabia in 1975, 1980. So when they talk about the Arab-Israeli wars, they're saying Saudi Arabia and the oil crisis, it's all a scam and it's all a fake. When they say King Faisal, Saudi oil videos, there's many Islamists and Muslims who are saying that he made all these speeches and things, Saudi Arabia, whatever is going to do that. So now people have got to ask the question, yeah, I've got to ask the question, when did Saudi Arabia become Muslim? This is a serious question. How did Saudi Arabia become Muslim? How did they get the modern Hadith? Why did they do it? Where did they get the teachers from? Because these people had to go to school. That if you go to Saudi Arabia today, yes, what do you call it? Yes, we will see it's totally different. And the people know the Hadith and all these systems. Who brought it? Why? What was going on? So now many people, many Muslims are portraying King Faisal, yeah, because they're just seeing a few videos, this and that, and a few photos. But if you look at thousands of photos, like I've done, the researchers are going to find it's a fraud. These so-called Arab-Israeli wars, they're saying, why didn't Saudi Arabia attack Israel in the 1960s when it took Jerusalem and all these conflicts? So now the thing is, I'd just like to say, Israel is a modern country like Europe. Do you think that King Faisal, here are the people in the 1960s and 70s, when the Six-Day War happened in 1967, do you think he could have even found an army to fight these professional Israeli soldiers?
No, I don't think so. Not in my opinion. No.
Not about this. It's not an opinion. You don't need an opinion. It's crystal clear.
Hmm.
Could they
Hmm.
fight the Europeans or the American weapons with the tanks, the machine guns? Do you think these people could do it? Have they got
No. No.
anywhere to manufacture weapons? Can they
Nope.
fight? So this
No.
story I've shown, it's a total scam. They've invented the Arab-Israeli conflict. Yes, it's a total scam. It's in my book, Israel or Palestine. But the thing is, the entire thing that's going on in the entire Middle East is a big joke, part of the global New World Order project. If you haven't read the book, you're not going to understand it. Yes, about how they've already falsified the history of the 20th century, showing that, hey, the Saudis did this, that, whatever, and Qatar did this, or United Arab Emirates with the oil crisis. It was the same in United Arab Emirates. There was nothing there, basically. I mean, in compared to the modern cities that we've got, like in Dubai and Sharjah and in Ajman and in what's that other place called? I forgot, Abu Dhabi. Yes, I've been to all these places. I've seen basically everything new. I've seen that they didn't. You can see there was no infrastructure there. The Europeans and the Americans built everything. They in the region. So the thing is, where did this Islam come from? not just Saudi Arabia, but in Yemen, there was a similar situation. It was similar in Kuwait. It was similar in Oman. So where did the Quran come from? And how did they get the dictionaries? So now you can see what the people look like. Do you think they even wrote these dictionaries?
No, I don't think so. No.
And I mean, you can check. There's thousands of photos. You can go and find them. But looking at the evidence, would you even use these dictionaries now to even understand the meaning of the Quran, or are these dictionaries a fraud?
Yeah, these dictionaries are a fraud. Is the
A
evidence?
total fraud.
Yes.
Yes. But this is why, Corpus Quran. I'm going to show you. There's all these people who are now trying to show what they will do is they're going to show that one, the manuscripts are fake, the spelling is a fake. Then they're going to show, hey, we are amazing researchers. They're going to talk in nice voices. I've seen the name of Allah. I'm going to try my best. Look at this. This word clearly says this. It's just total brainwashing and total. I call it it's a crime because they didn't check who made these websites. Two, it says these words, the certain meanings like this, and they're going to show you that God has got hands in the Quran according to these websites, word for word. Yes, let me just to show you what I found. Like, for example, they're going to say God's hands, the things, and you'll have the same word in the oral Quran, and so they will translate it as before me, or myself, or my hands. So, what is the masonry at the 33rd degree with this? It's just a total fraud. This is to do with 33 degree masonry or machinery. What they've done, can you see? It says God's got hands here. So if
Hmm.
God's got hands, it means he's got a leg. And this is a major problem that Muslims can't answer because their God has got legs, according to the Quran. Yes, in the way that it's done because of these manuscripts. But if you look at the oral Quran, I've told people to go to the mosques because if you're going to go to a big mosque, then what you should do is not talk to a priest. There's some donkey or a dog or a camel, yeah, who started barking. Oh, sorry, camels don't bark. What do you call it? Dogs bark nicely, actually. But this was a human person impersonating a dog, and they put comments trying to say David's trying to say go to a priest. I said go to the mosque, meet civilians where there's going to be hundreds of people, yes, then ask them. Yes, I'm talking for Europe and America because our audience is mainly Europe and America. Because in Europe and America, you've got people going to mosques from many different backgrounds. They could have come from Pakistan, they could have come from Turkey, they could have come from Morocco, they could have come from Iraq, they could be European born people. So the thing is, if you ask them, and said, what is the meaning for this? It says this here. Now, somebody who's just studied classical Arabic will say, God's got hands. Then somebody else who's memorized the Quran will say, but when you read it out, yes, it doesn't say hands. You see? Yes? It says God did something, but it doesn't
Hmm.
say hands. You
Hmm.
see? And, it could mean hands from the modern dictionary and the modern thing that they're learning. So that's what the fraud is. You see, that's why I said go to the mosque, because you can meet many Muslims, many different people. Or if you don't want to go to the mosque, then what to do is just stop lots of Muslims, stop from different backgrounds, or meet Muslims online, yes, who are not prejudiced or anything, who are not whatever, and say, hey, can you just tell me what this says there in this chapter? And say, what do you call it? If they know the oral Quran, and say, can you check it? Is it correct with the spelling? Because that's what I always do. If I know in my mosque, for example, if I don't find people from Russia, I've got friends there, so I'm going to harass them on WhatsApp and say, hey, tell me, what does your Quran manuscript say there? I'll say, open it up. Tell me the Arabic spelling. Is it the same as this one on Corpus Quran? So, for example, I checked this thing about the hands, and somebody in Algeria said, no, it's not spelled like that in mine. I said, oh, really? And they said, no, that doesn't say hands. It means this in our local dialect. But the standard Arabic makes it looks like God's hands. You see? So that's why I've said the Quranists, yes, they're lying. They're lying. And the Quranists started from Europeans. They invented this system, Quranist, because they wrote the dictionaries. They wanted it to be like this. Then the opposition to the Quranists are the followers of Hadeeth. Sheikh Imran Hussein is followed in the West. The average person in the Middle East has never even heard of him, that you were discussing him. I'm being serious to you. The average Muslim in Kosovo, I've got friends there. I've got, it's like the Muslim community in Serbia. That's in South Serbia, the Albanians, or even in Sanjak, Serbia Sanjak province. Yes, I know at least 20 different Muslims there. There are personal numbers on WhatsApp and Facebook that I can call them. I can verify things, their manuscripts from the Arabic that they've passed on orally for generations over there, because many people in mosques have kept the meanings. So it's like, for example, there is Novi Bazar. So I will contact people who I know there, and I'll say, hey, you know the Quran by heart. And for example, I know one person who knows it by heart there. I will say, hey, what does this say? And he will say, I've studied this classical Arabic too. He studied in an Egyptian university in Cairo, Al Azhar. There. So he will say, this is the meaning that they taught me, and this is the oral meaning that our community knows over here. And if he finds it's exactly the same, he'll tell me. And if it's a conflict, he will tell me. And then he will tell me, I know that they've invented these dictionaries just to match the Hadith. You see? Because they created the Hadith, they created the dictionaries, the Europeans, the Jesuits, the Catholics, the French. So, of course, they made it similar. So then there is the oral meaning. This is why I said go to the mosque. And of course, some dogs wrote down thinking I said go to a priest. I never said that. Yes, I said go to the mosque, talk to people from different backgrounds. That's what I meant. But of course, I can't say it in 2 hours. You can't say everything. But it's difficult to actually say things. Within 2 hours. You're making a video or something. So that's what Fomenko and Nosovsky, they found. There is a problem, but the basic simple meanings there. Now, many of the Quranists are trying to invent their meanings. Say, I think this word specifically this or that based on a dictionary. I don't know which dictionaries they're using. I don't know where these people are coming. But the dictionaries are just a fraud, and there are many things I go into the conspiracy of what happened in the 19th century and the early 20th century, and they invented the 19 code and they put it in the Quran manuscript. They actually put a code there by adding these letters to make it Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, or Al-Shaitan, or Al-Rajim. Yeah, because that helps putting the code. So this is in the book Secrets of Kabbalah. It shows the forgery of the British appointed their people. They appointed fake Muslim priests. They actually invented a so-called priesthood, or Islam didn't even have a priesthood. So this is in the book Secrets of the Kabbalah, and then it goes into the magical side of this. Yes, is explained in detail. The magical side actually goes in my book 33 Degrees. It's not a joke, the magical side, because I want you to imagine right now. Yes, can you get out? Can you remove the shape of the letters that are in your brain for the current English alphabet that you studied in school years? Can you remove this from your brain?
No, I cannot.
And did you ever think how it influences your thinking? Have you ever imagined this?
No, not really. No.
And did you think that maybe it even influences you sexually?
No, I did not think about this.
It's actually, yes, so the average person hasn't. So this is the next level, 33 degrees. I've written in that this is not a joke. What they did is how they invented the crucifixion story. They invented it just from writing letters that people couldn't get it out of their head. And it magically, the spelling, that's why it's called gospel. Like gospel, it means God. Yeah, in Germanic languages today it's God in English, but in the Germanic older language is God. Yes, it means God or Goth. Yeah, it comes from Arabic. They say Allahu Akkad or Khod. In Iran, Khoda, Hafiz, yeah, and Pakistan, and in Iran, Khod. Yes, that's where the word God, and it was like a global word. It comes from, there is a chapter in the Quran, Allahu Ahad, which means one, or Wahid in Arabic, which means one, which they're lying and saying. Gematria, it forms 19. It depends on the way they spell Wahid to make it 19, which is a big lie. The Baha'i are using it to say it, but they've added an extra letter A in there, or an Aleph, or Alif, some Muslims pronounce it. Sorry, I normally say the Hebrew pronunciation Aleph, or the Greek pronunciation Alpha, yes, or the letter A, but I forgot the Muslims pronounce it as Alif very often because of the fake dictionaries. Now, so this thing is very very serious. How serious? Now that you know about the dictionaries and many of the things, would you trust any of these Quranists? Can you trust
No.
that they're going to say, "Trust me, it's from these meanings"?
No,
Can
no.
can anything that be accepted? So now the thing is, they did this with the Bible. What they did is they're doing this with the Quran right now. Of course, it's happening in the West, not happening in the Muslim countries, very little. Yes. So now the thing is, the people in the Muslim countries, in Tanja, for example, I stopped before, but many Muslims came only from Spain in the last 100 years, the 1920s, 30s, because many people were still getting out. Yes, and Franco's dictatorship and the oppression of Muslims. Spanish people. That's why if you go to Tanda, its population went up from 40,000 to 1 million people. And nobody's asking questions of where these people mysteriously came from and why they're so poor. And from Italy, yes, you know, in the 20th century, it's known that many people who went to the Alliance Israelite schools or the Sephardi would their version of you know, Jewish yeshivas in the early 20th century, late 19th century, that many of the people who they claimed were Jews over there actually came from Italy, and many of the Muslims in Tunisia came from Italy because they wanted to preserve the original faith. And with 2, 3 generations, you know, of like colonial oppression, they forgot what they forgot a lot of the things, but the oral Quran survived. And the dialects, yes, it's got less than half, I would say, you know, of the meanings have been preserved because now this modern standard Arabic, they're forcing people and teaching them in school. But that's why I've said less than half. Many of the Quranic words have survived. And the Quran's basically got only 500 roots words, I call them. I don't mean the fake roots that people are using and to describe the Quran, trying to break it down. All that is a forgery and a lie invented by the Vatican. Yes. Or the Quran, 80% of the Quran is actually just, what do you call it? Basically, 500 words make up 80% of the Quran, or estimate like this. Yeah. And let me just show you about estimate. So it's the definition of what a word is, because it's an oral book and many of the things are joined together. So it's the definition of a word. So I call these 500 words, I call them the actual root words of the Quran, the root main words. I'm not talking about the artificial root that people are trying to break down and say this word means this. And like they will try to claim saying Ramadan from 3 roots, Ramadan, because you've just pointed out 3 vowels, like Ramadan. Yes, they are going to say the root words. Let me just show you. Yes, many of these Quranists are lying and saying it's like anybody who uses a brain, they will see that from the dictionaries. So they are going to say, like, let me just show you. This is from these dictionaries that these Europeans put there in the first place. When I say Europeans, yeah. So now, according to this, how many root words is there in the word Ramadan? Ramadan.
Let's see. Like the word Ramadan comes from an Arabic root
Answer
word.
yourself.
Uh, oh,
5, 2, 3.
uh, how many root words? 2, maybe?
They've shown Ra, Ma, and Da. How
Okay,
many is that?
Ramadan. Okay, 3. Yes.
They're saying that there's 3 root words.
Yeah.
I call that criminal. You want to know why? It's because what they've done is they've pointed out the vowels. But
Mm-hmm.
do you know what they've done? If you look carefully, yes, this is why they're trying to say it's based on a 3 root word system. That's for their manuscripts. and for their fake Quranist and Quranism, because the only reason that they invented this classical Arabic language was to destroy this book, the Quran, because the Quran destroyed Vatican and the wealthy people's world order. It basically took over the world. Yes, they set slaves free. Slavery ended. Women could divorce. They brought about this current freedoms that we've got now. Yes, and they want a new world order. The only way they can do it is when this Quran or this Islam is totally destroyed. And many people are saying that the current prayer system and everything came from the so-called Hadeeth and everything. No, it didn't. They're trying to say this. It came from somewhere else. We won't have enough time to discuss this today. I'll put it in a new book. Yeah, if they're going to declare that people are doing ritual prayers because they got it from Hadith, that's a lie. The evidence shows that the Hadith books were placed there by the Vatican and the British recently, but these prayer systems existed before. Now, if you just because you want to be a Quranist, don't make up your own lies. Don't make up your own lies for root words. So now I'm sending you the word Ramadan. I want you to look. I've typed it myself at the top. Yes, they base many of the root words based on the vowels. How many vowels do you see that will make the root words of this word itself? It's an oral word. Yes. How many can you see? Can you see Ramadan 3 to make this word, or to make Ramadan? Ramadan, according to them, based on their fake root word systems, how many roots is there within that word?
I see 4 vowels. 4 vowels.
4 root words. How many root words do you see? Don't count the vowels. It's an oral word. You don't spell.
4.
Yes. How many is that?
4.
3 or 2? It's 4. So they've lied. They've lied because now they're trying to define what is the meaning of Ramadan, and then they gave a meaning of what Ramadan means: first rain or thirsty or whatever, based on how the hell are you going to this fake meaning, telling you the full thing of how the hell do you know what Ra means? So now we could say I could invent my own root word meanings, because Egypt is a Muslim country. It's in the Middle East. I could say Ra means they're praying to the god, ancient Egyptian god Ra. Can't I just invent this? Yes. I'll say you've lost the meaning. Or I could say Ramadan actually means they're praying to the ancient Indian god Ram. Am I correct?
Yes.
You can invent your own meaning. Or I could say it means Ram Adonai or Aden or Adon. Adon is the ancient Egyptian god that they're saying Adon. Or I could say that you're doing Ram praises to Dan. That's how you play with root words. Or you could say the Don was the Vatican. Vatican priests were called Adon or Adonai. Let me just show you. During the Renaissance and Middle Ages, it was when Islam came, they broke the entire system. So the Roman Catholic Church, the priests, they were called Don. So now I can just invent my meaning. Ramadan means that you're giving up your food for the Catholic priests. I've just invented the root word meaning. Latin, many of the words came from Arabic. You see, you can invent the meanings. That's what they've done. And what they've done is that Arabic is, as Nosovsky points out, what they did is, yes, Arabic words have too many meanings because of all the dialects everywhere. You see? So the thing is, it has too many meanings that everybody knows that a single word, just read the part that's highlighted in black. You don't need to read.
1 second. 1 second. Let's see. A single word can have multiple meanings.
And more than any other language. That many people say that Arabic's got too many words or too many meanings. Yes, that you'll find hundreds of things. It's because the people now, those people don't know why. It's because, for example, it's like what do you call it? Yes, there is the word here that we see harem. Yes, the word harem just read the part in black highlighted. What does the word haram mean?
One moment. Let's see. Forbidden and sacred.
Yes, as far as his knowledge, no, somebody's talking about it. So does it mean something's forbidden, or does it mean it's something special?
Not according to
Yes.
this.
And then in
No.
many European languages, it means something that's forbidden because it causes you harm, harmful, haram. So when you look at these meanings, yes, it could have one. Many Quranists will say it has one meaning, but then it could also have two meanings. So now when you look at it, I will tell you something. If I said, what do you call it? Yes, don't do this. It causes you harm. You heard me orally speak this. So now you know I said it causes harm. Yes, I said, don't do this. It causes harm only when it's forbidden. That changes the meaning of the sentence because I said it orally. So when you know something orally, yes, it's like good morning is the best. Sorry, that was a bad example. When I said, if I said to you morning, yeah, many people don't say good. They just see you in the morning and say, morning, how are you doing? But it's an oral word. And that's how the Quran is. It's written simply, it's easy to see the meanings, and it propagates the message clearly. The West saw it as propaganda. The Quran is like serious propaganda for that time. It's because the world, the rich people had people as slaves. You would have been a slave today. Yes. And many viewers who are listening would have been slaves. Yes. So the Quran was like the propaganda of that time. It was serious propaganda. And something, and it says, no, if you want to be righteous, you got to set these slaves free. Yes. It was like many people, the Vatican didn't want to give divorce, or many of these people, they married someone, kept them, then they married someone else. That many people had many women. It was like a job. So the Quran comes along and says you can't do this. You can't just and they used to dump some of these women. So the Quran turned around and said you can't just do this. You've got to marry them. You've got to allow them divorce. I mean, and what do you call it? Yes, they're allowed to have inheritance and things. They're allowed to have cash. You see? Yes, so there was other things, and the Quran declared war against the bankers. This holy war that they call jihad. It actually says, God and His messenger. Yes, the messenger means Mohamed. Yes, notice of war. Yes,
Mm.
you'll see against the people of what do you call it? This was like that we see that what the Quran mentions when it comes to war. This was one of the major reasons for war. And then it says what do you call it? It talks about killing people who known as kafir or cover, or people who are covering things up, or the liars. So the meanings of the war and many other things, it's like many of the translations are a forgery. That if you read it orally and you went to the mosque and you asked somebody and said, it says in this translation, what do you call it? Kill the unbelievers or something. It sounds crazy. Yes. So the thing is, Quran, like for example, like many people are talking about it because they wrote these dictionaries. So now the thing is, if you went into a mosque, they're going to say it doesn't say kill the disbelievers. Just find them anywhere and just start killing people. That's what it looks like. Anybody who doesn't want to believe, isn't that what this sounds like?
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
So scary is this religion?
How scary is it? I mean, if it's accurate to the translation, then it sounds scary.
Yes. So now the thing is, it's very scary. And for example, so when we see what it says in the Quran, yes. So now it says something that we don't know. I don't even know if this is correct. I'll have to check through it. Yeah, even the spelling. Yes, but it turns around and says kill somebody called the mushrikina, according to that. I don't know what the oral Quran says, but according to these people, yes, it says that people who are that they worship many gods. Yes, according to that. Yes, that they've said that this means, people who are mushrikina. But then, I will show you an example. Let's just go through the fraud of this. When you open up the Quran, Corpus Quran website itself, and then you go for like an example of the translation of this word, then so they're saying it means these people killed them. So now, who are these people? We don't know what this is about. Is it the people in power? Is it the people who had the slaves who refused to let the slaves go? Is it the people who are forcing people to become Christian? The word Christian in Eastern European, half of Europe, it meant the word slave. Like if I said you've become English and the word English means slave, it means you've become a slave. So now let's see what it says when you go there. So now, what do you call it? Yes. So here, the word they've said it just means associated or it means mix. So somebody could translate this as mixed race one day. So the thing is, these things have got to be addressed. They've got to go through it and see that when you look at the oral Quran, I've shown that in the oral Quran, the verse numbers are a forgery. That the different manuscripts, like for example, the one that they use in France, on the French Corpus Quran, you could say, or the one in Holland, or the one in Germany, compared to these people who are sat in England and America are making these Quran videos that about the Quranists, yes, the verse numbers don't exist in the oral Quran, nor do these chapter numbers. Like, for example, they have a chapter called Surah Jinn. On purpose, it's number 72, because that 72, yes, is to do with the Kabbalah. And anybody who reads Secrets of the Kabbalah, and it's to do with magic spells. That's why they made sure it's number 72. Yes, that's the 33rd degree. If you read these books, you will understand what it means to them. Because then if you follow these dictionaries, and then you interpret the meanings and you accept these verse numbers and chapter numbers, yes, what happens then? We'll soon come to believe that these people wrote the manuscripts. Then they can declare, we wrote the manuscripts, we put these codes there, invented the root word systems, we decided where is actually a word. Who said it actually says the word mushrik there whatsoever? Yes, because the thing is, what they've done is when you have the oral Quran, I'm not sure what it says. Yes, pronounce it. I don't know how. So, thing is, if you imagine the oral, it'll be like you could read it yourself. It's in the blue. Read those three words together fast. I've just sent you a new page.
Mushrikina.
Oh, before that,
Oh,
three words.
Fakvutulo.
Continue. The three words together.
Oh, all three of them together. Sorry.
Go together.
Okay. Fauktulu el mushrikina haithu. Haithu.
So now the thing is, they decided to divide these words exactly in those positions. They decided to declare the divisions. They decided to say this is chapter 9, verse 5. They put the verse number orders. Now, if you look at many websites, it will have different chapter numbers, different verse orders. I've checked this myself, or in Germany, depending which website. That's another problem. So when somebody who sat in England, Canada, or Pakistan, or Indonesia, depending on the manuscript. So then the other thing is, how is the word sentence actually pronounced? Because many people will say that is what this verse says, but because it's not this verse. There is no such thing as these verses, these divisions. The main divisions that they have is the oral Quran. Ramadan, it's divided in the Ramadan, what they call separ. Yes, separate. Yes, the Arabic word is separa. Yes, separate. So who said this is an Arabic word? In the Arabic, they will say separa. So now in English, we're going to say separate. In Latin, separa or something like this. So is this word Arabic or is it Latin or is it Germanic? It was a global word because Arabic was the global language. There's only 500 basic. When I say root words, I mean the heart's main words, not like the fake roots that they're putting there. So the thing is, I'm sorry, I have the position that Professor Anatoly Fomenko's associate, Professor Gleb Nosovsky shows. The current Arabic dictionaries, the current Arabic meanings that they've given, the translations and everything is a total fraud. It's a joke. 10%, the total lie. 90% is okay if you read through the translations, but the rest, the lie. And that's why I said go to the mosque, because you'll meet many people. If you're not satisfied, go to another mosque and meet more people and say, hey, which country are you from? Compare it to other dialects in the other places. Yes. And then I'll have to go through this maybe next time because it's too long. But Islam was in Turkey before Saudi Arabia. That we can see it was there. Islam was fighting in Turkey, Saudi Arabia. Islam was in Russia before, and we've still got these Russian Muslims. So it's like I bothered. I went out of my way, to go to Russia. There's Muslims in Tatarstan, Dagestan, Balkaria, Ingushetia, in Volgograd, Muslims in Tobolsk, Muslims in Omsk, in Tomsk, in Katerinburg. You can go throughout there, Russian Muslims. They're white European people. Many of them look Germanic, some of them look like Slavs. In Petersburg, in Moscow, you can go to them and say, hey, what do you call it? Walk into a mosque and you can talk, you can ask them when there's a group of people there. You can ask them saying, what do you call it? What's the meaning? And in Russia, everybody knows Vladimir Putin. Yes, yes, Putin has made sure that they have not allowed Arabism in there, nor did Lenin and Stalin allow it there. That the Hadeeth and all these things didn't get in there. They tried to bring it into Chechnya because of the war and political reasons, but these things haven't spread. Yes. Let me just show an example of Russian Muslims. And the thing is, people will see that they're just European people. They're just European guys. Yes, and you could just walk into a mosque, you'll see Germans or whatever. Um, even you'll notice the difference between the Slavs, Europeans, and the Germanic ones. You just turn around and say, hey, what does this mean? You ask them individually and you ask them in groups if you want to research. You are going to be making these videos with your claims. Isn't that what you should do? Just hundreds of people instead of just sitting there and thinking, hey, I just found a dictionary when you know the dictionaries are fraud. Isn't that what you should do? Am I right or am I wrong in this?
Yeah, I would agree. Yes, yes.
Because religion is such a big thing, if you're going to make a video and you're going to say this word in the Quran means this, you can see it's the past tense, future tense, and all this. And you're going through all these websites and your alleged dictionaries, and from talking to just a few people from one country, think, hey, I got family in Morocco, or family in Iraq, or family in Palestine, or family in Lebanon, or family in Turkey. You're just asking a few people. Isn't it criminal? I would call it criminal because you know this is a religion, that this is to do with people's feelings. That's why, wouldn't you say that you know that there's many people who are listening and they trust me? Wouldn't it be criminal if I made a declaration saying this word means this?
Hmm.
I haven't done the research. You know many people are going to believe what I say. Wouldn't that make me a criminal?
Well, yeah, I mean that's up for argument because, like, yeah, I mean to say that that is criminal is like you have to involve the
Make a
judicial
declaration
justice. Yeah,
and they
it's
haven't done the
yeah,
research. I'm
yeah.
talking if these people are making videos, they're claiming they've done research. They're
Hmm.
claiming
Hmm.
these words mean these.
It's a
That's
pretty
what I'm
big
saying.
deal. Yeah, it's a big deal for sure, without a doubt.
Is it a crime or is it not a crime?
I mean, again, yeah, it's like crime means like judges are
Um,
involved and all this kind of stuff. But
I'll
yeah,
bet
it is criminal. Like, let's just make it simple. It is criminal.
if you see it from the point of view from the Quran says these people are criminals and liars.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, for sure.
maybe so maybe my view is Quranic. Some people can say this. I see it as a crime. I'll tell you why. Because what one person does today, yes, what do you call it? Let me just show you. And what people are doing. Yes, today, yes. I will show you what is actually what's actually going on. Yes, many Quranists go to the mosque, many of them don't. Some of them have kept the prayer systems and everything. What it's actually doing, Europe and America, unfortunately, yes, because people are using dictionaries. Yes, and because of the dictionaries, we see it all the time. Yes, that you will see what you will see is that the police are coming because these people now, because somebody's going to say this word means this or that. Well, you could read the headlines here. What is the headlines? Happens quite a lot the last 20 years in Europe and America. What are the headlines?
Police break up fight in Chester Mosque.
Yes, that's what's going on. I don't know what that fight is specifically about, but Chester just happens to be in England. So these are the kind of things that are happening. That people are fighting in mosques. Like it's not just in England. It's like the thing is what do you call it? Yes, here you could read this out. But the thing is because some Quranists refuse to go to the mosque, but many of the Quranists still go to the mosque. And what's going on? Because they're giving their own interpretation and meanings based on these dictionaries or based on
Mhm.
these alleged roots. You could read it, the headlines. France.
France in middle of Ramadan, fight between worshippers in front of ...
Yeah, so you're basically getting the message. So now you can see why I call it a crime. When somebody is going to declare, say, these people are doing ritual, people are following the so-called Hadeeth or the Muslim history books, it's a crime. It's a crime
Mhm.
you're going to be
Mhm.
declaring something when you've not researched the history, when you've not checked who published the Hadith books, not check the age of the letters or the alphabet by checking. Did you know that you can actually check up to a certain extent how old an alphabet or writing system is? I put this in my book 33 Degrees to show how even biblical manuscripts have the basic introduction. Then I explained more in one of Raphael's videos. I don't think that one's free. The main one about the printing press, where I go through it, that helps you understand it more. But if people have to research themselves before making a declaration, or why have I? I'm doing research. Why have I turned around and said same thing like Nosovsky that the current Arabic can't go off this? They've invented multiple meanings, and they did it on purpose. Multiple meanings. The Arabic dialects. I sent you that page before. I think yes, that they put all these multiple meanings in Arabic.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Um, so they did this, and so they know because they knew people are going to translate and interpret. Like imagine if I don't like the Quran, then I'm going to make sure that if I was the British and Vatican, French with their empires, I'm going there. I've got guns. I'm raping people. I'm killing people. I'm murdering people. And we've got military bases. We're taking their cash. That's what we did in the colonial days, putting the dictionaries there. Do you think these dictionaries there for a laugh? Or have I got, or is my agenda there to destroy the meanings of the Quran?
Yeah, to destroy the meanings of Quran.
So now the thing is, if we can't depend on the dictionaries, because we've got 1/4 of the world is basically Muslim, and millions of them have memorized this oral Quran, and in within many of their dialects that they speak, um, they know the meanings of the Quran. It's passed down in some. So that's why I said go and ask there from their oral dialect. Would you say I'm wrong, or would you say that that is the best way, or do you have any other way? I'll ask you. Think about it for a minute. Tell me, what do you think? Am I wrong?
No, I think you're correct. I mean, it's a big subject, a lot of factions involved, and this is a kind of a psychological operation, you can say. The whole idea of formulating dictionaries and having them support the translations of the Quran, and the translations and the dictionaries are off, right, from the oral tradition, then what does that actually lead the individual to? What kind of end result is that?
And the thing is, these days we've got what do you call it? Yes, we've got people like Sam Shamoon. He's a very funny guy. I find him amusing, actually. Yeah, I don't know who he works for or if he works for himself. And what do you call it? Yes, Sam Shamoon and his, they pointed out that based on the current Arabic dictionaries, based on that, based on, yes, the classical Arabic that they've taught in the countries, it's entered the dialects. Because if you're teaching the people in the Middle East this schools, they don't enter. So I'm Shamoon. I said, no Muslim can answer that Allah has got legs, according to the Quran. You see? And then
Yes.
it's not just like what they've done, that what do you call it? Yes, Allah is just an idol. He's got legs and other body parts. The Muslims can't answer this. Even the Quranists can't prove otherwise. Allah's got face, got hands, got fingers. He puts his hand above yours, or something like this, and other things. Is things like this. So the thing is, even if you do the word for word or the root words, you can't do anything. Yes. So the thing is, this is based on, yes, these things, the way they invented the dictionary. Yes. And so the thing is, what they've done is that the exact translation word that the majority of them are using in the West, think Allah has got a shin. Now this word is very important. Even the so-called alleged amazing translation, what's his name, Sam Garanz, have you heard of him? I've discussed this in the previous video, 33 degrees and occult magic with Raphael. Have you heard of Sam Garanz, his translation of the Quran?
Uh, it's vaguely familiar, but no, I'm gonna just I don't remember him
And
completely.
I talk about him because there's some people who are my friends and they message me. He's not very famous, but of course, he wishes he was, and he wishes his Quran translation goes around. He's invented a word called Quranite, like Nazarite, because hoping one day it becomes big. Because religion's a business, things like that. So what he's done, he also uses this word. Like, what word do they use in translations? It's in that picture of the lake. Read it yourself. What is the exact word that they use?
One second. The latest one I see is that
It's a picture. Under the
the picture is a
what
leg.
part of the leg is that?
Allah's shin,
Allah's
shin,
what?
shin.
Chin. Yes, so they're using the word chin. Yeah, even this some garans, or however you pronounce it, I'm not sure. Yes, but he uses what word? Does he use the word leg there, or what does he in his translation?
The day
The day
the
the
shin is uncovered and they
yes,
are invited.
yeah. The
Shin. Yeah.
point is the word he used.
Yes.
Translate that word shin. And the Quran is in simple, easy language. Now, the word shin, I mean, who the hell is using that in English every day talk? Is anyone using? Nobody. Doctors or on the football field or somewhere where somebody's their leg, think, I've hurt my leg. Where exactly have you hurt it? So they'll say it's the shin because that's for medical reasons. But
Hmm. Hmm.
even where it doesn't say shin at all. The actual word that's actually used there is actually the word sap. Now, what do you call it? Yes. Before you wear your shoes, what do you actually wear?
Can you repeat the
You
question
wear
again?
something on your leg. Yes, on
Yes.
your legs. What
Hmm.
you wear on your legs? You wear shoes and
Pants, socks, socks.
before you put your yes. So socks in plural. So now the word in the Quran that's used there in that place, the actual word sack. You see sack, socks, and the sack, carrying a sack. So that's the word that's actually used there. So So now these people, I call them criminals. They use the word shin on purpose because the word shin in Latin and in Spanish is pronounced jin when you change it. Do you know that?
No, that's very interesting information. Shin is pronounced as
Yes.
jinn.
So now they're saying Allah shin or Allah is a jinn. Many people don't
Uh-huh.
understand these things. It's part of Freemasonry. So now here it is. What do you call it? The leg is sack, or or that bottom part of it, yeah, where you wear the sock. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
sock and sack, same word. It's in Germanic. It's in European. So this has got to do with why they removed the word ash shaitan, and they wrote in the manuscripts in many manuscripts they wrote in Europe and America, and they're claiming they're ancient and they put them in museums. They put al shaitan because it's got to do with ash shaitan and shin. Yes, and that's why they pronounce it shin.
Mm,
Yes,
mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's where the story of Isha or the ashes, and that's why they have the ceremony Ashirwad. That's why they have Ash Wednesday. There's reasons for this, and why they put the cross with the shape of ash on your head. It's something to do with, yes, to do with that, and the Quran explains more and says these people worship the shin or the jinn. Some people pronounce it jinn. Some people pronounce it jinn with a D. Some people with J. Depends which country you go to. Yes, some people pronounce it sin. So that's where the word sin came from in European languages, but they're going to lie and say it came from somewhere else. It's like I said to you before, Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. And now they've invented Basmallah al-Rahman al-Rahim. Because some manuscripts have it spelled Basmallah instead of Bismillah. Because now they want you to go for manuscripts. The day you do this, yes, that's the day the Quran is gone. That's what they did with the Torah of Moses and the angel of Jesus Christ, or the Bible, the New Testament, Old Testament. That's what they did. Then they put it on paper, they joined the words together, then they separated the words and translated it as they wished. And you know, the first proper, for Hebrew that's spoken today, the first proper dictionary was only 100 years ago, 20th century, and it's been updated and modified since then. That's the joke of that. Yes, and if many people think that the Bible is not the Hebrew Bible is not written in the same language as the Quran, anybody who knows the Quran very well and they've memorized it or something, what to do is read Bible Hub, go through it word for word and read it fast, ignoring the vowels. The vowels is the major scam, ignoring them, but look at the meanings and then you'll soon see, yeah, that the Old Testament Hebrew actually written in Arabic, but just another dialect. Why I say dialect, it's a fake dialect that they invented. They separated the words, they gave the meanings, they put the root words there, and that's what they've done in modern Arabic. Yes, and they did it for the purpose of magic. And then these things, it's causing violence. It's hurting people. That's why I call it, like if you're going to make a statement, a public statement, and make videos claiming that this is what the Quran says. Yes, then you know what? You should have your proof and you should do your research. It doesn't matter if you're
Yes.
if you're claiming a book and you're claiming it came from Arabia. First check, did it really come from Arabia? And you're going to use this Arabic language that's over there. I mean, we saw what Saudi Arabia was. Yes, the rest of them, they have to look. They can look. And if someone's going to say, "Oh, these are artificial intelligence," you turned around and said it. Yeah, there's hundreds of pictures that Muslims have stuff in the 1940s and 50s about the Middle East, about cameras. Not everybody was poor. Yeah, and in Lebanon they took it, pictures in Morocco or in Turkey or Iran, so we can see history from what Muslims took. Yes, have visitors here and there throughout the region. So from there we can know. But so now uh, um, I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to say it myself. It's like Fomenko and Nosovsky are being a bit nicer because they're elderly gentlemen and they're polite. So they said, what do you call it? They said it politely that the Jesuits invented the histories of the Middle East. They invented the languages, the modern languages. Jesuits and other people. they invented these things. They said it politely and said, well, Nosovsky, I've sent you the recording. You can put the full video on the end. Yes. So they said it politely. Yes, but me, I'm going to say it's criminal. It's criminal because people are hurting each other. Actually, people are probably killing each other, depending on situations, in the last 100 years because of these religious things. You see? They're actually killing each other. That's what's happened in the last 200-300 years, just to remove Islam from Europe. And I've just given you a basic summary. So now would you say that Islam, is it an Asian religion, an African religion, an Arabic religion, a European religion, or an American religion?
I would say it's a European religion.
Me too. So now there is many Europeans who are saying, I'm giving propaganda. Islam was here. It was the religion of the ancestors. It was here for centuries in different forms, whether you call it Christianity or original Christianity or Judaism, if you want. And from all of them, from the deviations, from Fomenko's book, I went through many paragraphs with Raphael. They'll have to watch that. I'm going to write a new book on it, soon maybe. That what do you call it? Islam has kept more of the original. Yes, then it split into the Orthodox Church, but the Orthodox Church was not like a split. It was invented by the Vatican and their allies. Like that's why the so-called fake history of Napoleon. But they invaded Eastern Europe. Napoleon invaded Austrian Empire, Prussia, and all these other places, Spain. That was part of the war. Yes, part of the war to remove Islam from Europe, because while Islam stays, you can charge interest. People don't own their houses. They don't own the land. Now the corporations have taken the land. The people owned the land before. Yes. Okay, they haven't brought slavery back. They're not forcing with religion again. All these things that Islam made, all these changes, they couldn't reverse it. But now look at it. People can't afford houses. People, and if they do, many get repossessed. They've destroyed many things, the changes that this Prophet Muhammad, he was probably the greatest person in the last 500 years in the entire history of the world. He destroyed the old world order. The old world order started from Christ and Moses, it looks like, and then it became corrupt with some of these leaders. And that's how the church formed, the corrupt leaders. And then this man called the Prophet Muhammad, he revolutionized everything, and the common people followed him. And he got rid of these, oppressive rulers and things like this who set up their systems. Like right now, we've got many oppressive systems all around the world. Europe and America is good, but people say it could be better. Yes, things like this. It's like there's many restrictions. Already, you can't build a house. The countryside is controlled by these corporations. They don't even grow food in half of the land that they control throughout Europe and America. But no, you can't build there. You can't do anything, and you can't develop it yourself. Am I correct?
Yes, yeah, I would say so for sure.
And many young people feel hopeless. They're brainwashed into the system. They think the only hope is I'll have to go to university and then just get a job, and then maybe I'll be able to buy something and a fake life system, watching television, and then a few holidays a year if they can afford it, even one if they can afford it. So that's what they've done. They've created an artificial system, and everything is based on the 33rd degree, based on the appearance, and that is to do with black magic. So the two things, like I said, for the Hadeeth and how they did it. If they haven't read the books, please don't write some comment without doing research yourself, because a negative comment, I mean, you can ask a question in a comment, saying, "What did you mean, David?" Because I can't go on for hours. Like I'm realizing I'm tired now. We've just spoken about 2 hours, but more information is in my book, 33rd Degrees, to show the magic. This is not a joke. Yes, the magic in the symbolism. Then how the magic is done, I'll put it in another book, but that magical aspect is not in that book, how they do it and the things and do with it. Yes, but the thing is, your vision and the sexual aspect, it's in that book, 33 Degrees. Too long to explain. And the thing is, it doesn't just go through the Arabic letters, it goes through the Greek and the Latin and other things. So it's a global thing. And I'm sorry, If people wants me to change the history, the evidence shows the Prophet Muhammad, came from Europe. Yes, he was in Russia from what we can see, and he was in Germany at one time, or when I say Germany, I'm saying the Holy Roman Empire that ruled parts of Spain, Holland. This is what I mean, Germany, Franco Germany, or the Greater Holy Roman Empire, because they've modified the history of that. I basically mean Western Europe. Yes. So the thing is, he united the people. Yes, basically the people followed him. They turned around and said, "Get rid of these presidents, prime ministers. We are not going to listen anymore." That the military armies, everybody, people became fanatical. They went crazy. They thought, "We're not going to put up with this crap." Yes, of these people who are in power, become abusive. Right now, the people in power are not so abusive. So it's up to the people to make sure we keep our freedoms. Also, not to break the system, improve it. In many countries, we've done well and become more charitable and helped the rest of the world to catch up. Right now, it's not so bad. These changes were made by the Prophet Muhammad. He gave us back. Yes, the freedom was brought by the Prophet Moses and by Jesus Christ. They brought a lot of freedom, but then the people in power, yes, new people came in power. They Christianity and other things, and they became oppressive. And now the Prophet Muhammad got rid of it. Yes, because the people didn't want it. The people followed Muhammad. Yes, the people joined his armies. They stormed all these cities and power centers. He basically overturned everything. It was a revolution. Many people will say the Quran is propaganda. If you want to say it's propaganda, you can go back to being. You never know what the New World Order is going to do. And the thing is, yeah, that's what they've done. In the third world, we're talking 75, 80% of the world living in poverty. Yes, and they make ends meet. Yes, so the thing is, it's not propaganda. I would say the Quran is not propaganda in the economic system, because the thing is, it's saying abolish the banking system whereby they're charging you double and triple. Yeah, it's saying this is the holy war or jihad that's in the Quran, and as far as I can see, many people support it. If they actually read the Quran, they would support it. So many of the stories in the Quran are actually describing events that happen in Europe and Asia and other parts of the world against these people in power. Yes, and the abuses that they did. I mean, what is that? Get the inheritance. This that a girl can't choose who she should marry, or what is this that she can't divorce? Yes, I mean, so these are the things. It was like, yeah, somebody could say it's propaganda. If you think it's propaganda and you want to follow the Christianity, bring it back, bring it on. Let's see how many women are going to follow back to whatever. But just because you've made your new interpretation, then we've got the new evangelist or Koranist. That's what the Christians do. Evangelist interpretation. So that, oh, we're nice. Look at this. Yeah, we sing, we choirs in church and all that. No. Yes, you're using the same manuscripts. Yes, the Vulgate or the Hebrew manuscripts that the Vatican released during the printing presses. That the Vatican and the boys, they controlled all of these, and you've just given it a reinterpretation or remeaning, because the Hebrew translations and the meaning have been updated in the 20th century for political purposes. Yes. Oh, that's what the Quranists want to do. Yes, they want to give new meanings or something, trying to integrate it the West and Europe and America and many other things. They're trying to claim many things are rituals like this, the things like this, but they should reinvestigate and have a look again. I'm not going to go through these ritual aspects or whatever until I've written the book. So that if I'm about it, and then when I have, then where these came from, the things, and what somebody could say is a ritual. I could say that what you call it, watching television every day is a ritual, just because you do it all the brushing your teeth, you do it every day. That's a ritual. You see? Somebody could say bowing to God is a ritual, but you could say meditation to God is a ritual. You do it regularly. You could say if you're doing charity, giving cash regularly, that's a ritual because you do it regularly. Right, like Scottish rites in masonry, because you do it regularly and things like this. Yes. So the word ritual, they invented these words, also because almost they thought carefully when they invented these words in the English language, the word rite. for writing. It's written down. See? So a lot of it is to do with how people perceive language. Yes, but they won't understand that without understanding the 33rd degree. Yes, like good morning and morning. Morning could mean death. I didn't finish that example from before where I gave a bad example, but forget it. Any questions?
No, not really. I mean, I guess this is a kind of indicative of the kind of forces that humanity is going up against or having to deal with, and the amount of resources and time, and really their machinations or Machiavellian tactics to obfuscate a book that they seem to be afraid of. Otherwise, why put in all this effort to create a dictionary and mess around with the translations and such? That's what's going through my mind.
I'm going to be afraid. It's like, for example, if I've got a lot of money, some have, yes, and extra. I mean, and the thing is, of course, I don't want to share it with. Sometimes I'm selfish.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the thing is, I like my position and the extra cash. But for example, if I see people, I've just arrived at an airport. Normal people are taking their suitcase and they've got to carry it here and there from one station to another just to go to the center of a city. I will turn around and think I've got the cash. I don't want everybody else to have my type of cash because now I could just go down the highway and go faster because the metro takes extra time. It's here, there, everywhere, many passengers. I've got to put up with it. I've got to be quiet. And because I've got the extra cash, I'll turn around to the driver. There's 5 taxi drivers waiting outside. I've actually done this. I'm going to show you.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm
Hmm.
telling you the truth. Not an airport. 5 taxi drivers. And what do you call it? Yes, I want to smoke while I'm in the car. I don't even care about the local law. I've got the cash. If I get fine, so what? I'll pay it. I'm telling you the truth. So I've stopped taxi drivers and I say, "Can I smoke? Coming with you to the center." He says, "Sorry, no smoking." I will walk away and I'll go to the next driver. No smoking, and then they're going to
Hmm.
see me going to
Hmm.
the other driver.
Hmm.
See, I've done this. Yes, so some people will say that's nasty and that's abuse, but tell you the truth, yeah, maybe it is, but I've just been on a flight. Maybe it's 2, 3 hours or 5 hours. Just come out at the airport. I'm in a hurry. I'm dying to have a cigarette. Yes. So now the thing is, if the driver said no, so the thing is, yes. So the thing is, the wealthy people did abuse things. So I'm just showing a small example. Many people have cheated like this. No smoking area. They've done it. They've smoked in taxis too. Many people have done it. So I'm giving an example. Please don't judge me as like I'm a monster or something. Many people have done that. You've seen it yourself. Yeah, at the airport, it says no smoking near the door, but they're smoking right beside the door. Have you seen it? Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you've seen it. Yes. So the thing is what the rich people did, they abused things too far. That if they want to get married, it's the rich people. You call them don. They were just called priests. They weren't religious or anything. He's just some rich guy in Europe, and he controls the land. And they did that throughout Europe and throughout Asia and Africa. And this prophet Mohammed comes along and said, "Hey, you know what I mean? Got to go. God said so." You see? Yes, and so the thing is, it was a big message. You could call it propaganda if you want to directly by saying, and the Quran says God said so. But the thing is, he didn't need slavery. Now, some rich people could debate and say, hey, there should be slaves because I'm wealthy, I'm educated, I know what's going on. These people don't know anything, so they deserve to be down there. So many rich people I know, they've spoken like that to me behind closed doors. Many people have that. And because I've said the way the world is run right now, it's economic slavery, whereas people don't. They are just paying the cash and they think they can do something. They're actually slaves. You see? They're slaves because you're making sure you pay them enough to actually live and continue in the working system. You see? Yes? Whereas the rich people, they don't have to work themselves. Do you see it or you don't?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is there a few second gaps between when we talk?
I'm muting myself because it seems like
Yes, there is.
yeah.
Yes, there is. I've noticed. Because every time you say something, it takes a few seconds before it gets to
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
then when I type a question, I notice you reply a few.
Yep. Yeah.
Ah,
That's
just
true
in
with
case I
yeah.
pointed this out. Yeah, do you know why I pointed this out? Because there's going to be some dogs who are barking. Oh no, they're not dogs. Dogs are nice creatures. But I'll prove it because I'm turning my volume up. Please be patient. Yes. What time is it where you are?
It is almost 9, 7 minutes to 9.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it's 8:53. That's what it says in India.
Uh, what day is it for you?
It is May 31st, 2024.
See, do you see there is a gap? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
And you,
there's less of a gap on my side because like I respond to you as, I hear it, but then you're gonna hear the answer like couple seconds
oh yes,
after,
but
right?
not all the way through the video. Yes, I'm pointing this out because some people are going to say, because there's some dogs who bark, say that I'm making you say yes or no. I'm not going to say yes or no now. I'm asking you from your heart, tell me, is this Quranist thing a joke? Yes or no, based on them using dictionaries, websites, without doing proper research and asking many people from different parts of the world to explain a global book when we know that Arabic was global before. Or simply, you say it in your own words, don't say yes or no. Tell me,
Yeah, I
is this
mean,
criminal? Is
y
it?
yeah, I mean, like, I have to say, yeah, I have to understand their intentionality behind it. But one way could be said that it's like a little bit short-sighted, or maybe they're not digging deep enough. That would be the nice way to do it. But then if I were to be a little bit more harsh,
Yeah.
and then I come to understand that they're doing it intentionally, then yes, I would say it's very much criminal because then you are changing the minds and the beliefs of millions or potentially billions of people.
Thousands, thousands anyway. I will tell you why it's criminal. Because many people who are making YouTube videos, they're doing it intention of views, the intention that they want to recognize what they think or what they believe. But who said they did the research? If they did research, like for example, I don't like saying this, I've got friends who've made videos. They know I know certain matters. They didn't even consult me or ask me, David, what's your opinion on this? And they didn't ask saying, give us a proper answer with proper research. You understand? Yes, when they know that I've traveled, I've spoken thousands of people. As you can see, I talk too much. Yeah, I do. Yes, and so I ask questions so much. It's like I'm worse than a child or like a cat jumping about. Yeah, I'm thinking, what's this? What's in that corner? I want full detail. I'm one of them that I see it from the point of view that somebody will say a cube or a Kabbalah. From every surface, I'm looking inside somewhere, thinking, no, I can't ask aspects or any doubts. You see? And if you're going to make a video, of course, you're doing it with the intention of getting views. Most people do that. Am I correct? Yes or no? Nobody is making it thinking,
Hmm.
I'm just going to leave it. I want 5 or 10 views to see if anybody's interested. And they know that the average person who's listening, yes, is probably working or busy or something during the week, and they're not going to check or going to do many, many years of research or contact people everywhere, all over the world. These Quranists know this. They're not stupid. So now that you know that they know that the average person who's going to listen is not going to be spending hours, days examining words and checking all these sources and anything. Many people just believe. Yes, you saw many people, truthers who make videos, not just Quranists, truthers about mud floods and other things. Many people just believe it, and
Hmm.
many people just don't believe it, don't even check. Yes, on both sides, they don't check. Some people believe, some don't. You
Yes,
saw
yes.
this, yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very
Yes.
much a human
So
condition.
the person who makes the video, yeah, they use art, design, production, this, that, everything, and they know there's going to be an audience. That's why when I wrote my books, I knew there would be an audience. And you read my books. Did you notice? I tried to make my books easy, simple, clear, easy, so that people can check, that people will know I didn't just talk from my backside or farted disinformation. Did you notice the way that I did it?
Yep,
Yes?
very straightforward. Yeah, very clear.
Yes. So many of these truthers, many of them, they've got their, they're going to say they've got the best of intentions. I don't call it best of intentions. A lot of it is because it's hard for this. As normal Finkelstein,
I don't know. I don't have an
for the
approach, to be
Palestinians,
honest. I
has
just
said they're
try
doing it for
to
their
gauge
two-second
people and see if they're
recognition, for them to be recognized for their views. That's why I call it criminal. You see? That
Yes,
no
yes.
matter what their intentions, that along the way. It's like I've just made this video with you. Yes. And the thing is, yeah, I'll be honest with you, I presented everything showing some of the greatest researchers who traveled a lot and who interviewed and questioned many people, that there was about 1,000 people. More than this, if you include the number of people who they interviewed and questioned and spoke to, what Fomenko and Nosovsky did. And I've spoken to many, many, many thousands. Many, many thousands. I'm thinking more than 10,000 people over the years, more than this. Everyone knows I talk too much. Am I right? They say that God talks too much. I'm sure some people have said about me already. Am I correct?
Well, no, I'm not gonna say that you speak too much or talk too much. I think you
It's okay.
want to
I
make
know
sure.
this.
Yeah, I think you just want to make
Yeah.
sure that your point is coming across.
No, not my
So
point. It's not my point. Is it my point or
no,
is it a
no.
fact?
Yeah, it's a
No,
fact.
it speaks out. Is it my point or is it a fact that these Arabic dictionaries mysteriously turned up in the 18th, 19th
No,
century?
yeah, the evidence
Nobody
seems to be very
spoke.
clear. I mean, like people who were practically naked, like less than 100 years ago,
Yeah.
what kind of language were they using? Did they have printing presses? What kind of technology were they using at the time? And they're walking
Well,
around
they're going to be
barefoot.
telling us. They're going to be telling us that these people were the warriors, that they invaded Europe during the time of the Crusades. These naked people in the desert. Yes, that's what they're going to tell
Right.
us. But
Yeah.
that's why I said the complete place in Europe, the Inquisitions, and then it spread
Yeah.
globally. Crusades and the Inquisition, and it was actually the people were fighting against the Christian Vatican Church, not against the original Christianity, how the Quran describes it. And the Prophet Muhammad was the leader of this original Christianity, which became original Islam, which was the original Judaism. That's who the Prophet Muhammad was. Yeah, and as far as I can see, he changed the world. He basically overthrew the world order. I mean, he defeated them, just in one blow. Then they've duplicated his history, like to Sultan or Muhammad, the Mongol, or Muhammad in the Indian subcontinent, Ghazni, or the Muhammad of Arabia, or even this new garbage that's coming from Dan Gibson and Sam Garant, saying it's at the top of the Arabian Peninsula, where the Petra is, top of the Hijaz Mountains. New garbage. It didn't come from the entire region. Oh,
Yeah.
Muhammad
Well,
was in Petra, Prophet Muhammad.
the
If you
situation.
say this, then his followers will go. Yes.
No, the situation is that maybe that actually happened the way you are describing it, but that obviously these people are back at doing whatever that they're doing, after all this has happened. And that's why we are having this conversation now, because these people are back at it,
I mean, yeah,
and doing their obfuscation
yes,
and
they
control
are
mechanism
continuing.
again.
Yeah, of course, the lies are continuing because now they're thinking, we tried to make this great man, this Prophet Muhammad, who was like the greatest man after Jesus Christ. Say Jesus Christ revolutionized and changed the world. So that was the Prophet Muhammad. From what I can see, historically. So now they're trying to. First, they tried to show he was from Arabia, and they knew the place, like, some shithole or some garbage. So now they're trying to say, he's from some the garbage.
So I was
At the
following
top
him
of the
a
Hijaz,
little bit.
it's called the Hijaz
So-
mountain range. At the bottom, or the center is Mecca. At the bottom is Yemen. At the top is Petra. So now they're trying to say he was from there with just a group of bandits and things like this, backwards people, where you can't even grow food. We don't even know what he was eating. Maybe he was eating rats or snakes that are in this Petra or wherever. So that's what they're trying to show. Oh, but his fanatical followers who wanted to end slavery and everything, they forgot to go to the Mecca province and give these people clothes. And they forgot to teach them this Arabic. They forgot to teach them even basic Quran and how to pray. And they forgot all these things. That's why Saudi Arabia was like half naked and all that just 50, 60, 70 years ago. Yeah. We can't even say they were even Muslim, 100 years ago. The evidence, that's a long story. I've said we can't even, I said it like that because I'm going to write it and write a book about this soon when I have the time. Because I know there's going to be some dogs who are barking. Then they'll say, oh, Arabic was spoken in, what do you call it? Oh, if it was spoken in Iraq, how come they have some different interpretation of the Quran that would Shia Hadeeth, Baghdad, for example? These are the things. But then, if they have the different interpretation, so that's why I said you've got to talk to people who are in the mosque, places, Russia and all these other places, Uzbekistan also, and China, and go through some of these meanings, and then you will get the basic meaning because it's a simple book. It's actually an easy book. It was written for the common people. It caused such a revolution that now these people have made it so hard that, as far as I can see, majority of people in Europe and America today think the Quran, no, get the hell out of here. No, and this guy, oh, he's trying to brainwash us. Oh, not another one of these trying to show Islam again. What the hell, man? Get the hell out of here. That's how people see it. Yes. Whereas it was just a simple message, common man, that was easy to understand. Yes. Things like that. It's like it's got 500 basic root words. When I say root, I'm talking about simple words, not like breaking it up to how they're inventing the root words. Just fraudulent inventions like, Ramadan means, they're praying to the god Ra, or what do you call it? It's like this. You can invent these things. You see? It's just a matter of time before they make new dictionaries. That's what they did already, and they showed that, what's his name? Got some guy, I think he's called Jordan Maxwell, based on the fake history of mythology. He says Allah means sin. Yes, because of the fraudulent dictionaries. You've heard of that before, or you
Yeah,
haven't? I
Jordan
forgot what
Maxwell
his
is
name
well
is.
known.
The
Yeah,
guy called,
he has talked about
see
like
the guy
common
with
law.
bald head with glasses. He's the guy with the bald
Yeah,
head with
he's a
glasses.
kind of a chubby guy with glasses, a little bit funny looking.
Yeah,
He talked about common
as far
law
as
quite
I
a
can
bit.
remember, he thought he was slim. The guy who I'm talking, I'm not sure if that's the same name. When I saw his videos, it was about 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, he seems to have put weight on, or maybe yeah,
Maybe
compared to before. But and what he does, yes, he shows how they played the masonry of languages. But what people don't understand is he doesn't go through the 33 degrees, and he doesn't. Um, he show that history is a lie. Now, when you go to the part that history is a lie, yes, they entered these religions, even in the dictionary, the current Arabic, point out Arabic and Hebrew, Allah means sin or the moon god. That's based on the fake history that they've put on the region and fake everything. Yeah. Yeah. So when he used to speak before, he was a bit more slimmer. As you could see, have you seen his older pictures?
not so much, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, now he's put a lot more weight on. I mean, belly, or maybe he was a bit chubby before, but the thing is, that's the guy. Yes, it's the same guy. So the thing is,
Hmm.
if you consider the fake history, then he would no longer need to speak. Yes, the mythology was invented only during and after the Renaissance, because you have to totally get rid of what Prophet Muhammad has done. You've got to show that Jesus Christ, Muhammad, all of that's why they invented Aisha and everything else, this Prophet Muhammad in the desert, because very soon people are going to declare exist. Well, he didn't in Arabia. This Prophet Muhammad did not exist. The guy that they're talking about in Arabia, or the Aisha, and that's to do with the 33rd degree and the magical things. So if people understood how this 33rd degree works, then they would totally be able to get rid of this Aisha story and many of these other hadith. If they understood the Kabbalah, that's why I wrote it in this book, not just for Islam, Christianity, they would be able to get rid of the crucifixion. Crucifixion was invented with the 33 degree symbology and mythology. That's how they invented the story. And the Trinity was also invented. Yes. That's why the Allah symbol looks like a number 3 or 3 gods. It was invented that psychologically, magically, it was easy to brainwash people or easy to force the idea. Look, Allah means 3. And also from the translations of the words Bismillah, they put it Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. 3 different people, the Rahman, the Rahim. This is more explained in Secret of the Kabbalah and 33. That's what they've done, because then it looks like the Rahman and the Rahim. It's 3 different personalities or 3 different names or 3 different titles. Yeah, you know, Basmala, yeah, the Allah, Bas Allah, Allah, the Allah, Al-Rahman, the Rahman, Al-Rahim. That's if you go for it word for word. But if you're reading it out in the oral Quran in a sentence, and the way you pronounce it, when they're reading it, you can see what speed or pace they read it, and they read it in, then you'll realize else. Yes, and then from the oral meaning, it just means God, and this is in the name of kind, and He's forgiving. Yes, but then you'll start to think with the Kabbalistic idea, the 33 symbolism. Because by the way, it's linked. They say the third eye is where in your brain? Where is your third eye?
It's in your middle of your forehead, right above your eyebrows.
Yeah. Where would you say, which gland in your brain is this in?
Oh, the pineal gland.
Pin, or the pineal gland. Yes. So now what they've done, like I said, so with your third eye in your brain, how you perceive things, the pineal, they made sure it was the pen. Yes? So now many of these Quranists who are going off the mic, even when they're reading the black magic is there, they don't know the pen, penis. I'm going to say, what am I talking about? This is the 33rd degree, because when a boy sees a girl, the first thing he looks at her appearance. Yes or no? That's how he first translates or interprets with his pen gland or his penis of what type of a girl she is and everything, how she smiles and all looks, their appearance. I might yes or no.
Yeah.
But that's the truth of the eye or the pineal gland, and that's why Christianity was a sexual cult originally. The bad ones, not the Jesus Christ true ones. That's what Jordan Maxwell points out. But that's like the fake history, and that's the fake Christianity with this current Bible that we've got with the sexual aspects of it. And that's what they've done with the Arabic dictionaries and the Arabic meanings. And when you translate it to English, the pineal gland or your brain, pineal gland, yes, or pineal gland, depending how you want to spell it. And can you see what it is? Yes, and between your penis and your pineal gland, which bone is there in your body?
Oh, well, I guess the spine.
Ah, yes, it is. So the spine goes down to the coccyx or the coccyx, yes, and then at the top it goes to your brain, yes. So the thing is, You know what? I'm going to give away a bit of the secret. Yes. And so the thing is how they design these shapes and everything. So between there, like go from your pineal gland or your brain or the third eye comes from where? The penis. And how many steps do you have to climb? Spine. How many bones are there in the spine?
33 vertebrae, 33.
3 bones. Yeah, let's use simple bones. Yes. So that's the secret of the 33rd degree. One of the biggest secrets ever. Now, how they've turned that into lies and how it affects you, yes, magically, sexually, is not a joke. And that's how I've shown how it affects you with Christian symbols, with Jewish symbols, how they created the crucifixions, that you sexually perceive it, your penis, 30, or the 33rd degree. When your penis interprets it, sends that message through your spine to your pineal gland or the center of your brain. You see? And that's what I've explained. And I go through the details and I show many examples in my book, 33rd Degree. That's what the Renaissance arts are about. That's what all these Quran translations and Bible translations are about. That's what these dictionaries are about. That's why it's important that they send you to school. But they don't teach you how to cook. They don't teach you how to do any farming. They don't teach you how to survive. They're teaching you only what they want to teach you. The most important thing for 10 years is to get these symbols into your brain. What do these symbols mean? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or if you want to say in Cyrillic or Hebrew or anything else. And what's that got to do with the spirits or the Holy Spirit or the fire or the shin or the jinns? My book goes through that. You see? Any questions, or let's finally leave it? Any questions, anything?
No, I think it's good to leave it there, and then we'll come back for another video at some point. But thank you very much again, David, for enlightening information, and I hope the audience find it as interesting as I have.
So now that you know more, would you say, based on the history, not what I've got to say, based on what you can see and what you know, like, isn't it shocking about this penis, the pineal gland, and the 33? And then how men think with their penis, the message goes to their brain when they see the opposite sex. How are they going to think with the shape of the letters? And these letters are how the spelling is, the magic. And based on the spelling, the Quranists and the evangelists have given new meanings, new interpretations to the Bible. And do I have something against them? Or is it that what do you call it? The evidence is against them? Which one? Is David against them, or is David trying to, like start a fight? Or is it because the historical evidence shows that the people in power invented all these mechanisms or the machinery or the masonry of create how they're going to think, brainwash them, caused all these problems? Which one is it? Am I against them, or is it that they've fallen for the trap?
The latter. I think you're providing evidence of the lies and the mechanism in which it's been implemented. And obviously, sexuality is a biological thing, and people know about subliminal messages, and that's a part of how we are controlled or make decisions and such. So it's a powerful tool, without a doubt.
People know, but do they realize 10 years of using these alphabets, 10 years of using these dictionaries to learn a language, and then you're going to be using that language to translate another language that's fake? How serious is that? How big is this matter?
It's very big. I mean, language is a very big part of who we are.
So that's the third degree. Language, symbols, art, and how it has a magic spell upon you. You call it subliminal, but this is actually magic. Like the way you've been brainwashed. Like there's a fit girl there driving the car, had an accident, college, had to look at her. See? So now the symbols distract you, and the way the writing is, everything, and even the meanings, everything. The entire thing, when you open up Google and you're typing and you're searching the dictionaries, these Quranist websites and everything, you're under the spell even while you're reading. And the only way to get past it, if you know what these spells are, and then the moment you know, yes, then when you're reading, writing, and everything, the spell does. You see, that's what this magic is, and that's part of this, the very big part of the 33rd degree. Now, the other part of tying knots, doing magic specifically on certain people, that's another thing. Yeah, maybe I'll write about that soon. I didn't write about it because I thought learn some, use it in the wrong way. They will understand how somebody can, know the future or read your poem. That's why I didn't write about it. Yeah? Because I thought, there's bad people out there who will use it. They can learn it anyway. This information's there. But anyway, let's leave it at that. Okay. Yeah. Have I forced you to say these things today?
No, you can't force me to say anything, David, for reference now or into the
Have I
future.
brainwashed you? Have I brainwashed you? Like magic? Ali Ali shish kebab.
Well,
Magic. Rakadem.
from where I'm sitting, I'm gonna say that's no categorically, but if we do a deep dive, I have no idea. But right now, from my free will, consciousness, choice, I would say you have not brainwashed me. No.
Okay. So the basic message I'm saying is, title for the video, Anatoly, Fomenko, and the Koranists. I stick by what I said. If anybody wants to know the Quran, you could read it online. It gives you basic 9% of the meanings. The 10% is such a big fraud. And Quranism and Quranists, whether they know it or not, a lot of them are a fraud and they're criminals essentially because they want views. They just keep making many more videos. Want to know that 10% problem or something you don't understand? Go to the mosques, meet many people and talk to many people and investigate it yourself. Is this the best way, or am I wrong in this now? That's the final message that I'm giving. Is this wrong, or is this correct?
Yeah, you can't, what I'm hearing is that you cannot rely on people who are just kind of off the cuff, using the tainted dictionaries and translations that's already kind of like the poisoned apple, essentially, that's been given to them. And so they're kind of being criminals or tools by going in this route. So if you really want to know the truth, go to the mosques and ask the people who are a part of this river or flow of tradition that's been there.
And they have the oral Quran without the
Yes.
fake spelling also. Yes. Yes, okay, thank you very much. That's better. Let's leave it at that. Have a nice day.
Okay, you too. Take care and thank you again. Bye for now.